Yo, what is up, everybody, and welcome back to Chalkcast 111 with special guest, well, the most dominant coach we've ever seen, Ferra. We are back, EU recap, and yeah, just chatting. We're consistent Chalkcast pogs in chat, but Ferra, welcome.
Glad to be here again. I like coming here. It's great. It makes me practice my English because I do not have many opportunities nowadays, so I like it.
Perfect. I mean,
Your
it's
English
been
is great.
5 months.
Your English is great. That's why he does all the interviews for KC.
It's getting worse and worse. Like, my accent is worse and worse.
But
it wasn't good before, but it's, I don't talk that much anymore. I listen, but I don't talk that much anymore.
But the accent is good. I think, a lot of French people need to know this, that having a French accent is not a bad thing. Americans love French accents. In the UK, we love a French accent. But yeah, your English is great. That's why he does all the interviews in RLCS. In fact, the most recent RLCS interview he did, I rudely interrupted. I have to publicly apologize to Ferra because he had to listen to me talking over him as he was trying to give his interview answers. So Ferra, how was that for you to be given an RLCS interview post winning an event and just hear me waffling in your ear?
Okay, the thing is, I was so confused because, so, they make me join that call, and then I'm thinking, I think I'm talking to only 3 people, but I hear you. And it looks like you're in the conversation, it's like you're talking about the thing. But at some point, I'm talking a lot, and you're like talking at the same time as me. And I'm like, dude, usually he's not doing this, right? Like, is he trying to cut me off? So I just stopped talking, right in the middle of my sentence. And I was trying to say something, And then you stop talking. And then everyone stops talking. I'm like, wait, surely, and then I'm trying to, piece up together all of the things. Like, wait, maybe he's not actually in the interview thing. And I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, okay, actually, he's not there. I'm just, hearing him saying stuff and actually casting myself. And you know how confusing it is. It looks like, I'm answering an interview and someone is commenting on my answer at the same time.
We're casting the interview, bro.
At the same time, and I'm like, okay, I have to say something because I just cannot hear it. I just cannot focus anymore. It's just impossible.
That's so funny because what happened is they accidentally, on the last RLCS show, CJ and I just got done casting and they muted our mics to the stream, as you do. And then they brought Ferra in for the interview, and it's supposed to just be the desk you hear and talk to. But for some reason, my mic was still plugged into that audio feed to Ferra. So he's hearing me, but I was actually in a different Discord call by this point, just chatting to CJ, who'd manually muted his mic. So Ferra heard my half of my conversation with CJ.
If I was unmuted, he would have just heard like a full co-cast of Ferra's interview. Like, oh, look at this, it's brilliant.
But at some point, I'm saying something, and then someone says, "Oh, great point he's making right now," and I'm like, "What the fuck? Why not?" Is he casting me while asking me my question? I'm like, wait, I'm so confused. And then I realized what was happening, but like after 3 questions, and I think you can see at some point, I just stopped talking in the middle of a sentence, and everything is just confusing. And then I pick it up again, but it's weird.
No, you interrupted. I
don't want to watch it again, bro.
You were like, "Leaf, sorry to cut you off. I can hear Johnny. Johnny, I can hear you talking." And then I'm watching the stream like, what? I didn't say anything at that point. I was just silently in my head. I'm like what? Then I go to my, I don't know, go to Discord. Am I in the wrong Discord channel? No, I'm talking to CJ. Wait, is my feed going to him? So I mute that. I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on. I ask Blast, what's happening? They're like, oh yeah, Ferra can hear you.
Did you have that heard that somewhat sometimes we have when you do something surprising happen and you're like, oh fuck, what's going on? No?
Well, for a second I thought, did I mess up? I was like, is that my fault? But I think it was just a crossed wire was, going to the wrong place. So I panicked briefly. As soon as you said that, I was just like, he's not supposed to be able to hear me. So I just shut up. I'm like, oh no. But I only knew that because I was watching the stream. So it's lucky I was watching the stream. Otherwise,
I know you were casting my interview at the same time. So.
Well, we could have been talking about anything. So
now you know behind your back, we're not talking shit about you. We were just.
But the thing is, I would have, if you were talking about anything, I would have realized you're not in the call, so I would have picked it up earlier. True. But since you were talking about the interview, I was like, he's actually ask, like he's
Mm.
actually in the interview, so I have to answer to him. And I
Man,
realize halfway through it, I'm like, no,
I'm glad you
like
said.
it's just he's a ghost. Like he's not supposed to be here.
You're doing an
No
interview
one
in
is
a,
Hearing me.
only me I can hear him.
It's like it's already hard enough. You're doing an interview in English, and now you've got Johnny commentating in English over the top
And
of
you
Lee
can
trying
hear
to
me-
ask you questions.
Yeah, oh man, Red
the
Point
desk-
is making the thank you, Johnny.
But the thing is, the desk couldn't hear me, so it's just you. Literally, only you
Yeah,
could hear me, and
dude.
they had no idea. The desk had no idea that I was like making it impossible for you. So we
Dude,
just
but
thought, I mean, watch.
imagine I sent Vatcha Arto for this interview. That would have
Oh
been
yeah.
the weirdest thing. I think that would have been like, I think Drally would have picked it up, and he's like
Mm.
better. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think he's better in English than he is in French because he's. I don't know why people don't call him from NA, bro. He's from NA at this point. Like he's a Canadian, so, and he speaks so
Yeah.
good English. But yeah, I think Atto and Vatcha would have.
They were
I don't know. Like they would have panicked. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what happened. But we just thought Ferra was maybe getting distracted by one of his players, maybe like one of them doing a silly dance behind the monitor. It didn't look. I think if you would go back and watch it, you won't be cringing, Ferra. It wasn't bad. We didn't. I had
I
no
mean,
idea something was up.
Okay, if it's not bad, maybe I'm good at hiding stuff because
You are, yeah,
I
you
didn't
are.
notice, and I was. Well, I mean, we didn't notice until you said
was
you
so
said it's Johnny
weird.
listening. So I didn't think it was too bad. I don't think the captain caught it because he was watching CRL instead of
He was, yeah.
He's watching some
Yeah,
college.
I did not catch it. Well, no, I ended up watching the final because something happened with that. It got canceled, but I did not see the interview. But yeah, if Vatira would have done the interview, I've had one conversation with Vatira in English before. Him and Seiko came up to me at the
Oh my
LA
God.
major. I did not
That's a
understand
long
a
time
single
ago.
word. It was so bad. I felt so bad, and they kept laughing. And they would try to say something. They would look at each other like, "Huh? Like, did we say it wrong or something?" And it was so. I felt so terrible that I couldn't
I
understand.
think
them. But-
nowadays you definitely could speak to him. Like he's
Oh, is
getting
a lot
really
better?
really good. Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
Oh,
LA,
really?
LA major. Vatira's English was. I thought Vatira's English was pretty good because he was playing with Team Queso. They spoke
I
English
couldn't
like,
understand.
on the daily.
It was. I think it was worse though because him and Seiko were bouncing off each other, and like I don't know, they were trying to figure out how to say it to me, but they were laughing, so I don't think they took it personal. But I felt
I mean,
so
His
bad.
English is good as well. They're both.
I
quite
think
good.
he was 15 at that point, so that makes
Oh.
sense. Like nowadays,
was-
I think
that was
like
a long time ago.
I think he's pretty good. You can see it on interviews like nowadays. He's doing
Oh, yeah.
some of them a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like with Seiko, the only thing we say to each other is our current like series head-to-head score. Like, because the first time I played him, I beat him, so I just kept walking past him, being like 1-0, 1-0, and then he beat me, and he was like 1-1, 1-1, and then he beat me again, he's like 2-1, 2-1, and now still when I walk past him, he's like 2-1, 2-1. That's all we say. So
Oh, you took it personal.
I think it was funny.
yeah, they're fine. But no, Ferra, well done. Another regional victory. Before that, though, can we just backtrack a little bit because it feels like we had you on recently, but as you said off air, it was in December. It was, I think, 5 or 6 months ago. So it has been a little bit since we had you on. And since then, you had a pretty good first split. You then went to the Birmingham major and decided to just take the absolute piss and win that with ease. So give us a little recap of Birmingham. What were your thoughts on that major?
I don't know, easy, I guess. No, but like, I think we were ahead. Maybe we still are, but yeah, it just. I think it's the easiest LAN I've ever won. Maybe Worlds. Actually, I actually beat my own record of like win percentage
Really?
in terms of
This
like
was better.
game loss. It was like slightly better than Düsseldorf.
I think it was one game lost better than Worlds.
Yeah. So
21-5.
yeah, I don't know. We started weirdly. I think because it was it's not the first LAN we do together because we had the KCX show match and the flip and spin LAN, but obviously a major is different. And I don't know. I think we expected stuff to be different when we played against Wildcard. I don't know. We expected the mood to just pick it up by itself, and it just didn't. And we did not have a lot of energy, or I don't know. It didn't feel like we were playing a major game for some reason. But we fixed that up very quickly, and all of the other series went really good. I think the funny thing is, like, I think the NRG series specifically looked a lot like the World semifinal except that we win that game to overtime, and that makes pretty much the whole difference. Like, because last year semi-finals at Worlds, we lose the game two. Like the game two is exactly the same. There is no goal, and then we go into overtime. They are leading the series 1-0, and they win it. And so obviously 2-0 in a best of 7, you're like in deep waters already. But Birmingham is different. We win the overtime, and it's 1-1, and like it's already so much more comfortable. And yeah, from then on, it was smooth sailing. We pretty much from that point, I think we only lost one game after that. Yeah, and I think the results helped us. I guess we didn't expect to face Ultimates in the finals. We didn't expect to face Furia in the semis. But I don't think we would have lost on that final day anyway. So yeah, I'm happy. Like after last year, where we did great online for a bit after before crashing out. But yeah, we had some good results online. We just could not get it across the line on LAN. This year it feels good to have a major title already. Like I think it's a great boost of confidence going into the rest of the year, which is gonna be packed with 3 pretty much very important LAN for the team. So yeah, so far so good.
In preparation for Birmingham, which teams did you scrim against, Brights against? Like which teams did you see being the main competition to winning?
Falcons and NRG, I think. It's always hard to say from scrims because it's not like we have like 10 scrims against those teams. Like we scrim a lot the EU teams, obviously, but it's like the NA teams, the MENA teams, they come here and would come for like, I don't know, less than a week. So you maybe scrim then once or twice, maybe 3 times if you're lucky. So I don't think it's like enough data to just judge. And it was weird because like from my eye test, NRG did not look really good online, even though they won 2 regionals. Like I wasn't really worried about them. Like they looked worse than they were the season before. And Falcons had just lost against Twisted Mind, I think, in the finals, which was a bit surprising. But I didn't know if it was because Twisted Minds was better than I expected, or Falcons was worse than I expected. So by being cautious, I was like, okay, I think Falcons and NRG are still gonna be really, really good online. And the other teams, we weren't really worried. Especially the European teams, like we were really, really confident, obviously because we are winning in Europe. So, but also because I don't know, like Europe this season does feel a bit less stacked than previously. So
Really?
Yeah, you were saying this before the show to us, and do you want to
and
elaborate
not
on
just I mean, first off, I feel like there is less depth this season in Europe. I'm not talking about the top right now, but I'm talking about like the top 16 teams, the top 8 teams, because all of the players who cannot get a contract, and you can only get a contract pretty much in this game if you're like top 4, and if you make major consistently, or if you actually fight for majors. All of those players, they just try and go somewhere else, and you see, a lot of players going to OC, APAC, MENA, pretty much everywhere else, because it's easier. Europe has always been the toughest region to qualify, so they're trying elsewhere, and we lose those those mid of the pack players who could upset a lot the top teams, which makes it more likely now that you're gonna see the same. Yes.
Yeah, you lost.
I mean, so is in APAC now, so and he's not the only one. But yeah, like I think you're gonna see a more consistent top 6 this season, and I mean it's already the case. And outside of that, yeah, I think the top teams have. I mean, we've seen it at the major. Like Europe is not the greatest compared to where we were 2 years ago, where we dominated Feldorf and stuff. Like the major, we obviously were there, but outside of us, I don't know. I'm more worried about. I mean, like I'm more thinking like if we did not win, it would be an NA team or a MENA team that would win.
Do you think that EU well, it was Dignitas and GK and Vitality at the major alongside you guys. Are those the teams you expected, or did you have NIP, Gentlemates, somebody else making it?
I, I mean, I think people know it by now because people kept saying. I think you guys were saying it on the broadcast, but yeah, I expected. I was the only one expecting Dignitas to be at the major for some reason.
Yeah, you did. You did call that.
But GK, no, I did not expect. But I think it was deserved, and actually like the fact that they made it because they won. You know, it's like last season I didn't really like the points system because of how I wouldn't say it didn't reward winning, but it did not reward winning as much as it should, in my opinion. And this season it does feel like winning a regional almost guarantees you a major spot as it should, you know, because like you're winning and we want to see winners. Like to be honest, I didn't want to see NIP at the LAN because all of their results were like top 4, top 6, like no interesting games, and all they did was losing to all of the other teams the whole split. So why should they be at the major when another team has won an event? You know, I'm like this storyline was great to see, and I'm liking the point system this season. Like I think it's great.
So you're someone that prefers a peak, like, you know, a Shopify Rebellion who could come first, they could come 64th, versus a team that's hard stuff fourth. I like that.
That's what we were last season as well, right? Top 1 and then top 17.
So GK, when you guys lost, they had the 12-0 Champ Sunday. Did you expect that? Well, I guess no one really expected it, but what did that do for you guys, like confidence-wise and stuff, to lose that last event?
I think I wouldn't say did. I mean, I don't like losing, so man, I don't think anyone does, to be honest. But I think it's still good. Like we took away a lot of things from that specific loss, but it was under very specific circumstances. Like we had like a huge break because of the server issues. I don't know if you remember, but there was like a 2 hours delay or something before the finals. And yeah, like the whole day was really confusing and long, and I think we didn't handle it very well, and we learned from it. And not just that, but I think they kind of showed us one of our weaknesses, like Geekay, the way they played and the way we faced against them. So we really took our time to, you know, talk a lot about the series, to analyze it pretty much deeply, and then we were very confident going into the major, especially because we knew at that point that it was very likely we were going to face them again. So we took a deep dive on it, and I mean, obviously a lot of people look at it and are like, oh, it could have been the perfect split, but maybe not. You know, like maybe we would have lost at the major if we did not have that one loss to, you know, make us realize we're not. Yeah, put us on our feet again and be like, okay, we still have a lot to work on. We still have weaknesses. Let's find them and work on them. Yeah, I think he did us good. So yeah, I'm happy with how it worked out.
And where's the team at now then? Is it like, you know, just performance-wise, do you guys feel like you're near the peak for this roster now after a split and a major and a regional?
I really like. Wait, what's the question?
Just like where do you think the team's at now? I guess like performance-wise, near the peak.
I think we're not at our best right now. Yeah, we obviously have some weaknesses. I don't think we were playing at our best this weekend. Obviously, we had like some issues with the internet and stuff. So that was not the ideal way of playing, but we still pulled through. I don't know. Since the major, I don't think we are at our best, but I think it's mostly due to the fact that there is like the game was like the DDoS and stuff. Like it's, I don't know, it just messed up with everyone in Europe. Like the scrims were really bad because everyone was so bad individually because no one was playing. Like no one could actually play the game. So I think it took a little bit of time to just readapt to the just competition and scrims and everything. And I'm not like particularly proud of how we played like on the field this weekend. I'm just really happy with how we managed to, you know, handle our issues and like could focus only on the gameplay. Gameplay wise, I think we have a lot to still a lot to improve on for the rest of the split. But at least we won, which gives us a big edge for the major qualification, and we actually can look forward to like pretty much Lyon already, Raleigh already, like LAN events, and we have like leeway, we have like space to work, so it's like very comfortable right now.
Just pulled up the full playoffs for EU to recap. So you guys, you go 4-0 against Geekay. That's a nice one. Nice one to get back in upper bracket quarterfinals. You then champ Sunday. You have the game 7 against Gentlemates. Why does it feel like when it still gets to this situation? I think I was watching this one with Johnny in the green room. Even when you guys go to game 7 OT, it still feels like you guys are gonna win. Like I think I'd already it's just the KC play. Do you feel that as well as the coach? Like
you're not the only one saying that. Like even Kamel was saying that, and I think I'm hearing a lot of people saying that. I don't know if it's because we just won a lot recently, or it's actually because of the gameplay and how composed the players are. Because like this year, it does feel like we're like extremely solid mentally. Like no matter what happens, the players, they don't stress, they don't I don't know, we're so composed all the time. So like even in a tense situation, like we still play how we want to play. We still try to play how we want to play. Like there is no nerves affecting how we take our decisions, which maybe is what you feel, I guess. Like like I think you're gonna see like Drally going for like double, triple flip reset with like game 7 or like game 7 overtime, which is, I don't know, it's not something you usually see from players. They're usually gonna go for like simple stuff in a do or die situation, right? I guess.
What do you think about that Gentlemates team, by the way, with Eugen? They've massively improved results wise, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it was really hard to do worse than they did last split, so I think they could only improve.
That's a really like glass half empty way of saying they went game 7 with Karmine Corp, which is pretty good, hard to do.
I mean, as I said, like it's because I don't really put a lot of stock on our performance this weekend, because of the amount of issues we had with the connection and stuff, and the technical pauses and stuff. So I don't know what to take away from that series, but like looking at their other series, I think like their win against NIP is pretty big for the split, and I think they are slightly better than expected, but I don't know if they can contend for the titles. Maybe they can if they just won the overtime against us. Maybe they would have won the regional, but I don't know. I'm still seeing stuff from them that is I don't know, not the greatest. But obviously they're playing much better, and I think they can and will qualify to the major. Like I would bet on that. Yeah.
Grand
what
final.
About Vitality? Passing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I was gonna ask about that too. What is your opinion on Vitality? Because it looks, I don't know. Oh, well, you guys are 8-0 at this point. I think it was. Is it 8-0 against them?
I think it's more. I think it's it must be more than 10. I think it depends if you count like all of the flip and spin and other.
I think it's 11 outside of RLCS overall.
11.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
11.
I mean, I haven't lost since I left Vitality against Vitality. This season.
Do you lose scrims?
That's
like, is it just?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Okay.
We actually did not have the greatest scrim week before the regional, so that was that. I don't know. Vitality is weird. It feels like everyone in Europe is struggling against them, but I do not like. I think like we would struggle more against other teams. Like to me, they feel like they're. I mean, like all of their like how to put it. All of their unexpected stuff comes from only one player, and it feels like in today's game, it's kind of a pretty big weakness. So obviously, Exo and Monkey, they won last year, so people might be thinking, sure, but they won, so surely then, that it's not that big of a weakness. But I don't know, it does feel like the game still evolves, and I don't know, it might start to feel like it's like having a team like composed like that might not be enough like this season. Like it does feel like if they like I don't think their peak is really high. Like, I think their floor is really high, but their peak, a lot of teams I see have a better pick than them, especially internationally. Like, and we saw that at the major. Like, okay, it's sure they breezed through Swiss, but then in best of 7, I don't know, some stuff happened and they just could not get things going. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It does look like they have a really high floor. Obviously, you have an extremely experienced team and just like great players overall, but when it comes to abilities on the field, I mean, Zen is obviously a major threat, but Monkey and Exo, and I would say not so much anymore, but they do like on the ball, they do not do as much as many other players, that you see at the majors and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a weird case. To us, like we're comfortable playing against them, and they have their own unique playstyle, and it does feel like, as I said, like it does feel like if a team picks on them, they're gonna struggle. Which Europe struggles to do, but we don't. So far we're good.
Yeah. When I watch, it feels like because I thought this weekend, and then I especially thought this when they lost the Ultimates at the major. It's like they're really good at getting on offense, and then once they get to doing something with the ball, it's like very flat. Like what
Yeah.
unless it's Zen right now. And then it looks like Zen gets frustrated, and then he starts going for insane stuff. Like once they are on offense for like 3 straight minutes and can't score, it almost looks like he's like, all right. And then he starts going for more like crazy stuff, and then they just get like this weekend. It felt like you guys counter them like over half the goals. It just looked like a counterattack for the most part, and then
I mean, like
it was weird.
if you look at the major, like that's how that's how they lose most of the time. It's like
Yeah.
they try something and it just like because they have to, I don't know, push so hard to get it, they get counterattacked and it's GG. And if
Yeah.
they don't have anything on offense. So it's like it's a bit of a weird trade-off they have to do because they feel like they lack the firepower, like collectively, because they only have one player who can actually do a lot with the ball. I'm not saying like don't.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not saying Exo or Monkey are bad players. They're great and amazing in some aspects, but like in
Like
today's
1v3
game,
potential, you mean?
yeah,
Sort of thing.
in
they're
today's
very
game,
similar.
very similar. And obviously they won last year, but yeah, we're like 8 months later, so like
Yeah.
stuff changed, and it does feel like slowly but surely it's not enough at some point. It's not going to be enough.
Yeah, that
Maybe,
makes
but
sense.
maybe I'm wrong, like, but it does feel like they're lacking a bit of firepower.
Yeah. To me, it feels like their world's win condition this time is like they're gonna need a crash out from you guys like last year. Like they need everyone else to cool off, and then I think it would work. That's what it feels like. If everyone else cooled off at the end of the year, then I could see
Yeah.
them doing it.
Or maybe
Yeah, because their floor is so high. So like
Yeah.
if no one is speaking, they can win. And under high pressure, which Lyon is gonna be under,
world
probably
pressure.
the most amount of pressure anyone has ever felt, at least for French people. They can maybe do better than online or online, but if another team picks, it's hard for them to win. And like, I'm not saying we're gonna win Worlds, but if we don't, right now I would bet on other regions team than an European team.
Really?
Like,
Yeah.
Even
yeah.
Vitality? Like you'd pick
Yeah,
Falcons or something?
I would pick NRG, Falcons, at least those two over them. Maybe there is some other teams that can do well. So far, I haven't seen enough. I think like Ultimate, they did great, but one event or
Right.
two. And the Furia maybe, but it's always on and off with them. So I don't know. There is a couple teams that I see more potential.
So you think that
in the
having a Worlds LAN in France is more of a disadvantage than an advantage, just because of the pressure?
No. I think we would have that every day. It's just it's gonna be huge, so it's different. Like I'm not like it's just like it's gonna be different. So I think some players are gonna be playing a bit different. So it could work in some other team's way. Like it could fuck us up. It could work very well in our favor. It could work very well in another team's favor. Like I'm not. We have to really be ready for it. It's like that's the way I see it. It's like it's gonna be very different from all of the lands we had. The closest we had from it was Düsseldorf, but it's gonna be another level of like atmosphere and yeah, engagement from everyone and from everywhere pretty much. So yeah, it could mess up with like what players are used to and how they behave on LAN and how they play on LAN. You know.
Do you think
That makes
lands
sense.
for this is probably one for you guys, Garrett? You probably got a little bit further, I'd say, arguably in lands than I did. Do you think lands back in the day was more
Arguably.
about arguably? You know, if you would have to pull up,
Arguably.
we'd have to pull up the Wikipedias, I think, just to check on full
Maybe,
full results. Ferra, I think you might have got a
debatable,
little bit further as well in a couple of events. But you know, who knows? It was such a long time ago. But do you think back then it was more about, like as you said, people played down? It was more about kind of the higher floor rather than higher peak on LAN, like just like consistency. But nowadays it's more like you need the higher peak, or is it still, you know?
I mean,
still-
I think still on day one the gameplay's
Yeah.
terrible. Vitality
Yeah.
looked great when everyone else was like, you know,
Hitting it
like
all.
you know, still getting the jitters out. But by the end of the tournament, it does feel like you're getting closer to like online play. When I watch, at least, and even
Yeah.
when I play, obviously it's still LAN, so like LAN things happen and stuff. But it does look different than back then, though. By the end of the tournament, it looks. It looks
It nearly
more
looks better
people
than online.
Yeah, people look more comfortable than back then, at least. I think back then at the end of the tournament it was still different. But no matter how long we go, like every major, day one looks terrible. Every single time it looks so bad, to me at least. It looks like
But
everyone's so nervous.
Yeah. Do you guys agree? Because like you've all been players, except Johnny, but
Yep. Yep.
online
Johnny's 0-1.
play, or like
He's
no
0-1.
like to me I rank like quality of plays. Like Scream is the highest quality of play you can have, and then it's gonna be online RLCS, and then it's gonna be online, which is the lowest quality.
Yeah.
Like gameplay you're gonna have. Like Scream is the best, like because no one has pressure, everyone is doing some crazy shit, so there is no pressure. Sometimes like players like peak under pressure, and it gives like you some of the greatest moments we've ever had, like season 5 finals and stuff like that. But like
Mhm.
on average, Scream gameplay is the highest you're gonna have. It does feel right. Like do you guys felt this
Oh
way?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because I mean, I've had struggles of translating it to
Yeah.
to like we talk about this every time. Even in the last NRG team, like our scrims were great. It was just like as soon as it was an official match, just
Yeah.
vibes gone, like awful pressure, like
gone.
it didn't matter what much it is. And we were talking about this, I think last week with Shopify. We were wondering if like maybe they should start scrimming in a more realistic way because people rate them so high in scrims every single year, but it feels like they struggle to do it in matches. So yeah, I think
It's not, and it's not to
that's
explain to
gameplay.
people how like this pressure hits. Like it's
Yeah.
I don't know, playing in RCS is not easy, but I mean sometimes it is. That's the weird thing. Sometimes it is easy when everything goes well, and sometimes you're getting the weirdest stuff. Like so the weirdest stuff happens, and you just ask yourself like so many questions, and then your gameplay suffers a lot from it, and it's like even more on LAN. And as you said, like on day one on LAN, the gameplay is questionable.
Yeah.
But the more we go on, like year after year, I think players are getting more and more comfortable. They're more confident in their mechanics as well. And I think like it takes like nowadays we're getting closer to what we know we can do like on LAN.
Yeah.
From my opinion, like.
No, 100%. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I can
well,
confirm as one of the 4 players in this call who's played on a championship
I
Saturday.
know, Johnny. I think you can
on
confirm.
LAN.
I think you can confirm
I
based
can
on how
confirm
Rizzo was
it's-
playing in ranked
Yeah.
versus
Wow,
when he was playing
teammates-
on stage.
Not the same. Yeah, very different kind of vibe with the teammates, like and how hard they're carrying me or not carrying me up to expectations. The opponents as well. I mean, just panic flipping. It's a different setting for sure.
No, but the thing is, like, that's something we didn't bring up, but also the communication is very different because especially with the crowd, and that's something that's gonna be really big in Lyon. But
Mhm.
like the noise gets to you which obviously you don't have in Scream. Like your comm is very clear, very not. I mean,
Actually,
nothing can happen in your comms.
I'll tell you one
On-
thing I did
on
not
LAN-
like. Oh, sorry, go on. I thought that was...
On LAN, it's good. I mean, on LAN, with the crowd and everything, it's very different. And you hear everything. Your mic is not perfect. Like
It's never perfect. It's
Yeah.
I hated that I couldn't hear myself because when you're using a caster headset, you have audio from yourself in
Get the
your ear.
feedback,
Like,
yeah.
puts it back in. But on the player headsets, you can't hear yourself, which for a caster is really weird. I'm speaking. I'm like, wait, is my mic broken? What's going on?
Wait,
'Cause,
right now, are you hearing yourself right now?
Yeah. This
Okay,
is a studio
interesting.
headset, so I can
hate
hear
that.
myself.
I hate that.
Yeah. Players hate it, but like and most people would hate it. I mean, the first time anybody uses one of these headsets, they're like, "Oh, is that what I sound like?"
I think
That's
Rizzo was like,
disgusting.
why do you want to hear yourself when we're
Yeah, why
setting
would you
up?
use it? But it's really difficult when you're casting to know, if you're, because when you're playing, it doesn't really matter if you peak the microphone or something, or sound really bad, because it's just comms. As long as your teammates understand you, and then it's also good to not hear yourself because you can hear your teammates more easily. So in that situation, really, really good not to hear yourself, but for casting, you need to.
Yeah,
to hear.
it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need that
So
a
I
little
hated
bit.
that. I was like, oh, this is. I was really confused by. I just kept thinking my mic was broken. It was really weird.
But I think
Yeah.
even people
No,
that like haven't played on LAN will know. When you're playing ranked and it's like 3 a.m. and you're in flow state and you're like, oh my god, like why can't I play like this all the time? Because suddenly like you're not thinking. It's just like easy, But then when you're playing like I know you're more switched on, you start thinking about things. It's the same thing on LAN. Like when you're on LAN, you start thinking, okay, there's so much. There's a lot of other noise going on. There's the crowd obviously, but also you're like, oh, if I go for this ball, what if I miss? Or like, what if you just start second guessing yourself, and then it builds and builds.
Yeah. I was gonna say that nowadays it feels like when Vatira first came to the scene, I was like the confidence he had, I was like, what the heck? Like what is this guy tweeting? But now it seems tame. Like I feel like so many people are that level of like confident in themselves now compared to like our era of players back then.
It's the new era,
like
but
one or two.
I mean, when we were playing, we weren't really challenged. I think it's a format thing as well because of league play and stuff. It was hard for a new player to break in, and you kind of needed to. I mean, you could not come in with as much confidence because the pros would not pick you up, right? Like usually someone. So I think we kind of made our own bed with that one, and nowadays with the open era, it just happens that obviously the more confident players are, the better they're gonna be. So.
Yeah, and some of them have played so like even like now that I'm doing these qualifiers, like it feels like everyone. I mean, obviously we're not good, so it's different. But they are like it feels like everyone's a lot less nervous than even the first 2 years of the open era. Like they've played so many qualifiers at this point that they're like, screw it, like let's just do it. Like let's just.
I mean, again, I think it's a format thing. Like you remember, I mean, you both had to do it, but like the RLCS qualifiers back in the day when you only had. You have
one
to
chance.
qualify
One
chance,
and
you have to make it, or you're screwed for 6 months and you don't do anything. And it's like it's some of the most nerve-wracking situations you can be, and even like like I still think about that because nowadays we have like the tiebreakers, in case like 2 teams go head to head. It's the funniest thing. But back then we only had that like to qualify for LAN.
every time.
Yeah, every time. Either you were making top 2 and you were fine. On league play, either you had to have a fucking tiebreaker to make LAN. It's the craziest stuff. Like it's so hard to play.
But even league play was like you're prepping all week for one best of 5,
or
maybe 2.
I think that's why the gameplay was sometimes questionable. But I think it's so good. Like
I know, dude. If we knew K, like I say this every time. If you waited all split for K Corp versus Vitality towards the end of the split, everyone would be so hyped that week.
That one match, that like I think viewer fatigue is a thing, right? We don't want to see 10 times Vitality case.
You guys are like 15-0 at this point. Yeah, like I'm not that interested personally. I'm really not interested in watching at this point. Like,
but you would be if it was like, okay, I'm telling you, there is going to be only one match between us, or like 2 maybe if there is another one on LAN, and it's going to be next week. You're going to tune it on that.
Every goal has like you feel every goal more so.
Yeah,
but now it's like
league play was so different.
I do miss it. I wish there was a good hybrid option because I think that I'm so over it online. Like unless there's a tiebreaker, then I'm really interested. Like, that's when I'm really locked in.
Tiebreakers are like LAN finals or like LAN semifinal. Elimination match on LAN does feel the same way, but outside of that, it's it's nowadays there's so much that you can mess up. It's fine. Like there's so much to do, so you'll be fine.
You can play the same match 2 weeks later and make
exactly.
up for it. So
Well, you know, the problem with I agree with you guys. Think like a more cutthroat format would be really exciting. But every time that idea is floated, or any time that a team is presented with that situation by like Bruno Buchholz or I don't know, some other format, it's like, what? This is so unfair. What do you mean we have to,
single
elimination
our splits of the line?
Yeah, but that feels random though.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
It's like
that feels really random.
Like, oh, I just got punished for or you don't get rewarded for going through. That just feels like randomizing stuff.
It happens in every format though. It's every single format is like this in some way. Bruno Buchholz is just a different iteration of randomness.
Dude, the fact that you can go 9-0 as the first seed and still lose your seed is crazy to me. Like the amount of times we got bracket fucked this season. We made it out, right? Like we only lost two series, so it's not like it mattered. But come on, like if we go win 9-0, just give us the weakest team. Like why do we have to play some major continent team every time? Same stuff last week, bro. NIP messes up their check-in. Actually, funny thing is, I reported that bug 3 months ago. It still hasn't been fixed. It's a StarGG bug. I know what it is. But obviously they should have checked in. They know about this. But still, why do we have to play NIP first round in the Swiss? You know, it's like, dude, what? And then obviously they fucked themselves more than anyone else. But still, like the whole bracket was so weird after that. Only because of one StarGG bug, and also the fact that they did not want to reinvite the top 8 after major for some reason, when it's just a walk in the park.
Yeah, it was
I don't
weird
know. It's
that
weird.
they didn't do that after the major. Like top 8 were reinvited after regional 1 and then 2, but now after the major they're not. I think that's a bit strange. But I mean, I would love a more cutthroat format. I would love a more direct format. I agree with what you said earlier that the winners qualifying to LAN makes sense. You know, GK winning a regional, going to LAN. Imagine that every regional winner just goes to LAN. You just win a regional, you go to LAN. That's your top 3.
We talked about this at some point, right? But then I'm like, if you win a regional, do you skip all the are you disqualified from?
You can win 2, and then at that point it would just go to more spots would open up to points. I guess after that, like points could be a secondary thing. Then winning would be the main thing. But there needs to be a balance because competitive integrity is obviously important. You can't just have it all as a single.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, the auto qual. Because if you're in the first one, I just feel like these guys have already made it, but let's see if they can win another one. Or
you have to go again. I don't think you just don't play regional 2 and 3. I mean, there's prize money on those, so you have to play them.
Yeah. But again, about the cutthroat thing, it does feel like more of a. I mean, I think our point was more about the excitement we have.
I want to know who's playing next week.
Days. Yeah, and just being able to build up stuff. I think for orgs as well, but like that's another topic. It's like for orgs being able to market their next series is also such a big deal. I mean, you see it with. Like nowadays with the content we do, so Casey, Gentlemates, Vitality, I mean everyone nowadays do it, but like there is lots of banter between orgs, and I think some of the fans really love it, but it's almost not possible on Rocket League because you play original where you have like 10,000 series, one after the other, you cannot build up anything on social media. Whereas if you look at other esports, like you go on. I don't know. You go a league event or like you watch LEC, you watch anything. Obviously, it's 10 teams, so again, it's league play against an open format, and I think both have their benefits. But obviously, when you have league play, you can just have a set schedule and know what to prep for.
I like that, the build up for the week. Like, we're playing this team this week, and you can do the head-to-head. You can do little interviews, stuff like that. Like,
but it's hard because then it's not as open as it is. So
of course.
They're not gonna
Epic Games doesn't like that. So
you just have to know what Liquipedia is and have a million tabs open to actually watch the esport now. I think that's so bad. I think it's terrible. Personally, I think it's
not great. It's not a great viewing experience. I agree.
What they need to do, or what we need to do maybe, is we need to do like a kind of Shark Tank episode of Chalked where we have we are in charge. We're gonna decide
the host,
the best format. People come to us with their format suggestions.
Oh, I love it.
like we're gonna get T-Bates on here. He's gonna come to us and present his league play for
His franchise
We can
league
ask him
play option
questions.
with like each city
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
in
yeah.
North America getting their own spot.
And we
Regional
just
land.
have 4 or 5 people come on one after another. They get 20 minutes to tell us all about their format. We can ask them questions, and then
Dude, it's
we'll
so
have to put
good.
them as
It could open up so many new ideas as well. Like, I feel like some.
I'm serious. I'm a format
Yeah.
nerd, so I would love that. But we gotta think about that.
We always get
Something
back into
there.
format. I like, yeah. Let's park that for a night. That's a great app, actually. We'll get viewers on. We'll get T-Bates on. Whoever wants to, Lola wants to come on. John wants to come on. Surely, we'll get people on for that. We'll get a full format, and then maybe we get someone from Epic or Blast. Imagine that we get them.
We just need
As
to
an investor as well.
get Paul in. Paul
Yeah,
Shepard,
Paul
I
will
know you're
jump in.
listening. Yeah,
That would be so good.
Paul in as a judge, as the 5th judge. Because right now
That's
we're 4
peak.
people. We're not enough. We need someone else to be the deciding vote. Otherwise, it could be a draw.
Tim
we might have to
Sweeney's
get
in
Paul
here as well. I don't know about that one. I prefer this.
Yeah, no, we don't really have him on speed dial, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think he's
It's
busy
gonna be a
fighting
tough one.
Apple, so I don't know.
He's fighting major battles up there. But yeah, I guess just to round out the European side of things, we'll get into the NA recap in a sec. You guys as well have qualified. Speaking of qualifying early for something, pretty early qualification for Worlds for Lyon. How does this change anything for you guys? I guess for the rest of the season, the rest of the split and Riley, or is it kind of just building up for
No,
Worlds?
I mean after we won the major, we pretty much knew we were locked in already. Like I think we locked in mathematically the qualification after the semifinals. We won. But the thing is, if we can lock it in by now, it does mean that realistically we were gonna have it either way. Like we just needed it was just about 1 or 2 scenarios left, and that's why we needed 4 more points or something. But we knew after the major, I knew already, okay, we have enough points. Realistically speaking, it's gonna be more than enough to be even top 3 seed or top 2 seed, even if we stop playing right now. But obviously we are not gonna stop playing. We won't know the idea is just gonna be get that first seed. I think we're more focused on actually qualifying for rally because that's still not done. And once that will be done, yeah, I guess we're gonna focus on the lands themselves. But we might be in a situation where our 6 regional have no stakes outside of cash prize, which is an interesting thing. But yeah,
And
it
the
is what it
streak,
is.
maybe.
Yeah, and the streak, true.
Love it.
We'll see how it goes. It's a rich man's problem, so I will take that any day.
Yeah,
But
that's nothing to
I
about.
love it. Qualifying for Lyon. So obviously at the start of the season, the expectation is to win or to at least be contending for the win. So obviously qualifying is not. I'm not saying it's a given. It's not easy, but we should make it. We made it, so it's not going to be as much of a question as it was last year. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really proud because the Worlds is going to be really important, and you see how it means for Gentlemates to have missed that first split, and the tough situation they're in. It's hard, and at least we don't have to worry about that anymore. So I'm happy.
I have a question. I don't know if you'll answer it, really, but
Go ahead.
I'm just curious because I feel like you're a pretty good coach, a little successful.
Thank you.
What is your opinion on the NRG being defensive
Oh,
storyline?
Great
I want to
question.
know what you think about that, or might not answer because you might not want to help them.
And based on that, did you see the Satthew tweet regarding this?
Yeah,
Yes, context.
he did like a few paragraphs saying that he's surprised
If
that's
you didn't-
even
if
a
you didn't see it,
storyline.
Yeah, if you didn't see
I
it, we
can pull it on
summarize.
screen
Did
while
you-
you
did
talk.
you see it?
Yeah, you can maybe summarize it. Maybe I might have
Yeah,
seen it,
CJ.
but I don't know what the big story is behind it.
Okay, the summary of that is
I've got it
that
up if you
Sath-
wanna-
I mean, it kind of came out from Satthew tweeting this. This is where it came from. But Sathew's not just tweeting this out of nowhere. There has been a dialogue about play styles, obviously, as there would be. But yeah, he tweeted. It's the last paragraph of his tweet after winning the major or the regional last week. He said, also, this narrative of us being a defensive team or having some new defensive play style is some of the most asinine stuff I've ever read. So yeah, some of the most ridiculous stuff he's ever read. We are still the same team, building on what we have done in the past year and what Atomic and I've learned in our time beyond that. Sometimes an off day happens or a team can put us under extended pressure because they're executing well. We're always going to try to set the pace, trust in what we're doing, and we'll deliver. somebody posted that tweet to the Reddit, and
Okay.
he was actually responding to Reddit comments, elaborating on his take, and he did elaborate on the Reddit to say that he was thinking, I think more, correct me if I'm wrong in Twitch chat, but I think he was speaking more about regionally, and he did say that in the world of Rocket League, teams like KC and Falcons would be considered more aggressive than NRG. But he does think it's a crazy take to call.
Yeah, okay. I think
NRG defensive.
I know why people say that, because people nowadays are very centered around stats, and I think at the major it was very obvious they were not scoring a lot of goals. They were struggling to. I mean, all of their games were like really low scoring, so it looked like a very defensive series. But to everyone thinking that, I encourage. I think people just do. I would say do not watch the game, but they do not understand what's happening. There is one particular series I have in mind. Go watch back the NRG versus Vitality series at the major, and NRG is not playing defensive. Like, they have pressure pretty much the whole game. The only reason Vitality is winning is by huge mistakes from NRG, who just overcommit every time. And I'm like, yeah, it does feel people say that because of the stats, and they haven't scored a lot at the major, and so obviously it sparked probably this discussion. Maybe there's something behind it. I don't know what they work on specifically. And as you said, I think obviously we do stuff differently. So maybe, their way of seeing the game is a bit more defensive, but you put them against most of the teams, they're not going to be defensive. They're going to control the whole game. So it's not, I don't know. I guess it depends on how people
It's like
by
how they
what people
challenge
mean
as well.
by what people mean by defensive as well. Yeah, it's not a challenge. It's which ball they decide to go for and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't think they're a defensive
But
team.
you're saying Swiss match round 3, because I was looking for this one. I couldn't remember the match, but they played in Swiss round 3 in the.
Yeah, I think people should go watch
major.
it. And some of the goals scored by Vitality here are like, yeah, okay. I mean, sure, you capitalize on a big mistake, but dude, that should have been an energy game any day of the week. And that's why I was confused, because everyone after the Swiss stage was like, dude, Vitality speaking. And I actually watched that Vitality energy series, and I was like, I'm not as confident as everyone here about Vitality, obviously because I know them more. But even then, it did feel like they got away with a lot against NRG. So yeah, obviously against us, all of the games were really low scoring, and yeah, they struggled more than we did. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, a lot of teams struggle to score against us. So that, I don't know, it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, I would agree with Satthew. I think
What do you think,
maybe they're
Garrett?
more defensive than us. But
What do I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think, Garrett?
I think that it's something they're saying because they're just not winning like as much. Like I think it's just a narrative that started, and every team plays I thought the K Corp versus Vitality. I thought K Corp I thought you guys were playing a lot of defense. I thought that was even the Game 7 versus Genomates. I was like, wow, Genomates like has them pretty pinned back, but it's like not something that's spoken about. And obviously they got the win. But every time NRG is about to lose a series, they're like, why are they on defense? I'm like, they're trying to not get scored on. But yeah, I mean, I think that they're a little bit. It was weird though, because I remember thinking like, I wish at the major, I was like, I feel like they need to be a little more physical. And then a stat popped up that Atomic had the second most demos per game, and I was like, oh, never mind. I was completely wrong about that.
But you see, I think people put too much stock on stats, because okay, sure, the demo stat is one thing,
It
but
was it wasn't
how many of them
memorable.
are how many of them are actually impactful?
Yeah.
And it's the same with the saves and stuff like that. Like, sometimes stats do not tell the full story at all. And you can get like useless demos just as much you can get like really, really good bumps that will not count as demos and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can see where you're going with it.
But as well as like, I mean, there was definitely times where I thought they were a little bit, but then I think back to, I don't remember if it was the major or Worlds last year when they beat BDS. That was a low scoring series. Like it's been a common theme for them and it's worked. So I don't think it's kind of like what we were talking about with Falcons. It's like, does Falcons need to go and redo their playstyle because they didn't look good? No, they just didn't execute as well. So I think they've always had a really strong defense, and I don't think it's something they should really stray away from.
Yeah, maybe
know,
the
it's hard.
offense was lacking, and like people thought like perceived that as, oh, you're not scoring, so obviously you're on defense. No, they're just not scoring on their chances. Like the Vitality series is, I mean, people should rewatch it. Like generally after I
This
said,
Swiss
people should
rent-free
rewatch it.
Vitality NRG.
Yeah, like some of the overtimes goal looks stupid because it's just a
Yeah.
wild mistake, and the game is lost on that, and then the series
It's probably
best of five,
sloppy.
so.
Yeah, I mean, that stage of the tournament's generally like not NRG's best.
Right. I think
they kind of improve day on day, so their championship Sunday is the main day, I guess, for them.
Yeah.
In terms of what to expect.
Yeah, and I think they set the standard so high last year. Like, you know, obviously making top twos every single time, and I do think, you know, there hasn't been as many peak beast mode moments maybe so far, and I think maybe that's why. But besides that, you know, people are complaining about what 2 regional wins, 3 regional wins now. Like, you know, there's really not too much to complain about. I think it's just the standard they set last year was so high that seeing them struggle at all, which they're struggling, was top 4 at the major. They still took down Falcons. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just a little bit of a overblown narrative about it.
I did say on my
yeah,
stream the other
that's what
day that I
happens with
don't
this game a lot.
think they've. You know the bit about Satthew tweet that he said that they've not changed their place there. They've not changed into a more defensive style. Like I agree with that. I don't think they've visibly at least changed much stylistically from last year. But one question I wanted to have for you guys about this before I've got some other like more specific questions. But just generally, do you think that being defensive is considered a bad thing? Because it sounds like Satthew in the in the tweet is taking it a bit personally that people are calling him defensive or calling his team defensive. And I've heard a lot of, it's not just Satthew, this is Jstn. He's put himself out there by tweeting, but there's a general vibe from fans, viewers, even like players and teams.
Like,
defensive is just not, so defensive is not sexy.
I mean, people said the same thing to us back then.
Yeah,
you know,
so what's wrong with being defensive? If
it's
you're,
like in I don't know if you know the example. Maybe Johnny, you know it, but like it's like being the Atletico Madrid of you know in soccer, in football. It's like
okay, is Veloce sexy?
But
exactly.
It's not exciting. You know, you're not scoring the low percentage goal. You're not scoring the big plays. You're just putting the wall in defense. So it's not sexy.
But is Shopify sexy? Yes. You know, like that's full off. Well, at least last split. But no, I'm with you. I think.
I've got another question to Garrett, and maybe Ferra, you might have noticed this one as well. So, do you guys think that NRG this season, maybe last season as well, but I think this season mainly, played differently when the score is 0-0 or 1-1? You know, when they're tied / ahead, to when they're losing. Can you tell? And obviously, teams should play to some degree differently. But how differently do you guys think they play? Does their style change when they're losing? Do they look more aggressive to you when they're down?
I mean, I think NRG ramps it up a little bit, but I think it's because I think obviously I don't know for sure, but NRG seems pretty happy when they're up a goal too, though. So it's like I don't think they're really pushing for. I don't think they're always pushing as hard as say like Falcons are to score. Maybe I don't know if that makes sense, but they seem a lot of their games are low scoring. So it's like obviously when they're I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I do think NRG ramps it up though a bit.
When they're done?
I think so. But it also rarely happens. So it's hard to say. Like it's there's not a big sample size that I can think of right now.
To me it's I'm not watching. I haven't watched all of the series this season. I'm watching mostly the playoffs for NA regionals and the majors.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure we can really like. It does feel they're lacking the. It's hard to say, and I think the main reason is because NA competition is not the stiffest you can have. So so obviously like they're dominating and they do not need to push too hard for it. So I guess that's the feeling you can get. But I guess we saw the limits of that maybe at Birmingham. So when they actually needed to score, it never
so
came.
Should they be pushing then, Ferra? If you're put yourself in Sathew's shoes, you're in North America, you're saying they're a weak region and they're just kind of doing enough. They're just winning, but it's not you know, if you want to be a world, you know, you're the NRG coach, you want them to be world champions, would you be pushing them more like we need to be like stomping? Don't take the foot off.
No, I mean, it would be a matter of playstyle. It would not be a matter of like having more goals. It would just be. Yeah, I mean, I guess I see the game different than them, but yeah, I would like to see other type of plays, I guess, in their gameplay. So yeah, I would push to do some stuff differently, as everyone would. No one has the same vision for the game,
True.
but yeah, like, and maybe it would lead to more goals, but also maybe it would lead to more goals for the opponent. So that's the thing.
Yeah,
Like
that's a trade-off.
the balance has to be found, and I think their balance is really good because they keep qualifying, they keep winning, they keep. Like a semi-finals at a major is nothing to be ashamed of. I think people are a bit, yeah, as you said. I think the standard they set for themselves last year was maybe a bit too high, and people need to chill just a tiny bit about that. What they do is not easy.
Yeah, Sathew's written a comment here I'll read it for the audio listeners. He says in the live chat, maintenance of a style is hard, and the tiniest details can completely alter outcomes of play and the rhythm of your team. Some of those details were missing in Birmingham, as well as pure execution in some cases. Like Ferra said, our series against them, is this fight, does he mean KC here?
I think he means
I think he means KC. Like Ferra said, the series against KC showed a more defensive side to NRG, but that's to the credit of KC. Our entire tournament didn't speak to us being defensive. So that's Sathew's continued take here. It was KC. As he ended the sentence, I should have read ahead what it did say. I think this whole conversation is honestly just semantics. I think it's just some people talking about one thing.
It's what
other
people
talking about another thing.
Exactly. The definition of defensive.
I think it's just semantics. Because some people think defensive and they think goalkeepers. Other people like I mean, I'm thinking when I say a defensive team, I'm meaning like which team, you know, took the big boost on the left versus which team took the small pad and ego challenged, you know? I'm thinking more like aggressive passive maybe.
Like
Than
intention
defensive
and stuff.
offensive. Yeah, or maybe like risk averse versus willing to take the risk. I that's where I'm looking at tendencies of teams. And I see NRG as a largely risk averse team who are playing, you know, pretty safe for the most part, taking the big boost, putting the kind of like the systematic pressure on their opponents, and then eventually there's a clear cut like solo play. But
yeah, I'd say
probably
they're just less
see like a Falcons or like a KC or
less
I don't
on
know,
edge.
something like Zen, just ego challenging someone, being like, nah, stuff this. I'm just gonna send it and see what happens from third man. Oh, nice, they didn't see it coming. We've scored. But it's not good or bad. I don't think that it's bad what NRG do. I think there are other people who do think it's bad. I don't think it's actually bad. It just needs to be tweaked, but the identity is fine.
Yeah, I think
it's a matter of balance. That's all it is.
Yeah, like Falcons, I'd say is the team that plays the most like on the line, like right on the edge, where you see the big like okay, it's randomly an open net.
Across
Like
the line even. I think
they're probably over the line.
They need to come back a little bit. Yeah.
People are saying their defense is bad.
Yeah,
This.
I mean,
I was gonna say, if you, I think it is a lot very overblown because when I was watching that major and when I went back and watched it, it felt like a couple more shots. They hit a couple more shots. They're in their streak is alive on land. Like, and a lot of the goals they were giving up were very uncharacteristic errors that like I've never really seen them make that often. Like it felt like they were off the whole event, and that's their floor. Like their floor is very high, I think. And why would you change that? I think especially for the goals worlds. And like we said, I would still consider Vitality potential to win worlds just because their floor is so high, even though they're struggling to finish stuff right now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And they're almost it's very important to have a high floor.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
But yeah, when you look at NRG in regional, for sure they look super aggressive because they're playing like so confidently. They're pre-jumping everything. They're not respecting their opponents because they don't have to. And sometimes like they'll get to a deep run of a tournament. They respect the opponents a lot. Ultimates maybe you'll see like a more serious NRG performance. But they know like versus other teams, they don't have to do anything crazy. They're probably going to win if they just play standard Rocket League and just chill out, and eventually the win will come. That's why they're always winning in NA against pretty much the whole competition. But if you look at global top 8, I mean, as soon as you chuck SAM teams and MENA teams into the mix, you're probably going to see a higher percentage of ego challenges and risky plays just automatically. Casey, yeah, probably same thing. You're just gonna be like, what is going on, Drally? Like Ferra said earlier, it's just triple flip resetting in game 7. As third man with 20 boost. You're just in a different mix of teams where now they skew more defensive. But if people are talking about a different subset, they're going to disagree. And this is, I think, where the confusion comes from. People here, NRG are defensive compared to the global elite, but not like by a huge amount. They're just defensive. And then somebody hears that and says, "What? I just saw them put up 10 goals in a row against some team in their own region."
No,
They're
but
not defensive.
I think the main point, I think you said it. It's like people get vexed because like
they do.
being defensive is seen as a bad thing,
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's not sexy.
It's funny.
That's it. That's the end of story on that. I mean, you mentioned you mentioned preferring high floors, and I think it's a good time to hop into some North American action. Ferra, I know this is your region of preference. Speaking of teams with high floors, the most notable transfer in this window was the Retals and Justin swap. I would argue for Shopify that has improved their floor, adding a Retals, but obviously you'd say individually, Justin probably adds a higher ceiling. What were your thoughts on the transfer?
Very hard to say because I mean Shopify we haven't. I mean, it's easier for me to judge a team when we play against them. Like when we scrim against them, or when we
CJ,
play.
you're saying that they're not good enough to make.
They haven't made an event. No, it's true. Honestly, silly question. Sorry,
you're not even on
major
Ferra's
teams.
radar,
It's
bro.
top
You're
10.
not
Sorry,
even on
they
the
top 10
radar.
team in the world. Well, why would I care about them? Is basically I got it.
Make a trip Sunday, and then maybe you'll be watching.
All right, we'll move on from that one. That's probably a good call. These are the NA quals that we had yesterday. Talk me through it, Gas. What happened? What happened, Captain? I'm seeing a 1-3 down there, and I was expecting at least a 2-3, maybe around 5.
Listen, we got. Here's what happened. First series, we were hyped. We almost went up 2-1 on complexity. We were like, "Whoa!"
I was watching that.
Run for their money.
That was close.
And then,
you're up in game 4.
And then, no, this is what happens every time. We go into a match. We're like, oh, "Okay, nice. This is a good matchup," and then they're just way better than we think they are, and then we lose. We got 0-3 the next one against JJ. I can't even remember who's on the team actually. Yeah, I can't even tell you who's on the team. JJ. There's just so many people I don't know, and I'm like, where did this confidence come from? They're just pre-jumping. Like we almost lost to Taco Stash 82 day 2. We went to game 5. This guy is just like
I used to be more respected than that by
yeah. Why am I? Yeah.
Where's
like,
the aura gone,
no
Garrett? Where's the captain aura? You got world champions over here, and they're clipping on you. You got these rank kids clipping on world champs.
It's crazy. It's crazy. They're not even clipping really. They're just bumping us, and then it's open net. To be honest,
no respect.
We get absolutely. We get demo diff. Absolutely, it's a tough world out there for a couple.
They're not respecting the scrim rules in 2025 as well.
But they are.
No, they're not.
You're behind the aura curve. It's like the issue with the aura curve is like
we need coaching.
Yeah.
Either you're ahead, so you know, like before you were like, I mean, Captain America. So everyone was like, big aura, and everyone, yes. I mean, you had those series, right, where you're like, and I've had that. Like, I think the one series in my mind is the complexity versus vitality in Boston, where AG Gem is the weirdest open net. It's like it's aura miss. It's because you have so much aura that's missing. But the thing is, like,
true.
Once you fall down the curve, you just become another kid up where everyone actually thinks
everyone's confident.
Everyone is like,
no. That's true.
I really want to shit on him. I really want to shit on him, and he's not good anymore. So it's like all of the aura you actually used all of your aura, and you're in the aura depth now, and everyone is using it against you.
There were so many series back then that felt like we won just because we were NRG. Like we did not play good, and
because of the name, right?
Yeah, and they just played terrible because it was just like they didn't expect to win. Now it's like. They're like, nice. I'm gonna post this to my TikTok. I just beat Garrett Squishy Asian. Let's go.
They're more motivated against you than they would be against each other. Like if you see two random teams, they would pick on you, but they would not pick against each other. Like I know.
Yeah, it's.
I'll tell you what though. You know what's good though?
Ahead.
I think it goes, or like the curve, the aura curve that Ferra's talking about. Yeah, you got to be above it for people to respect you and lose by just by freaking out. Now you're below it. But I think there's
It goes
another
again.
aura
You can't
curve.
lose to Garrett.
Yeah, it's like there's another aura curve, and once you get low enough that you're below the other aura
it's
curve,
a benefit again.
people are terrified. And
So
I
you're
don't
saying
wanna-
I'm in the low spot, but a high is
Yeah,
coming
I'm
soon.
already in that
Is what
spot.
you're
I'm
Yes,
in the
saying?
next spot. It's really good, actually.
I
It's a
don't
good
wanna-
spot.
I don't want to drag. Like I feel almost bad, but not really dragging
It's the
Ferra into
Alpha
this.
Cap
But
spot
if-
actually where he's at
yeah.
now. It's like the Alpha
Yeah,
Cap zone.
it's
We can't lose
Alphakep.
the Alpha Cap.
If CJ, me, and Ferra queued up, and we like sneak a game off of like some bubble players, they would absolutely freak out. They would.
It's
they
like,
would,
it's like
they
playing
would,
against
we
Jesse
can't
back in the
lose.
days, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll be like, I can't lose against Jesse, man.
Yeah. That's coming. If you can invest enough and like people thinking you're bad, then you get the benefit of the negative aura.
Yeah, you need to keep
So you
losing
just
for a
have to
little
Interesting.
invest
while.
more
Well,
in that.
Yeah.
I'll be waiting for those benefits. But no, if you want the real gas analysis, honestly, I don't know, bro. We're either top 12 in the regional or we're 1 and 3. That's what's happened every time. We're 2 times top 12, 2 times 1 and 3. So I'm not sure. But what I was actually sad about, and which I know CJ is ready to just absolutely roast me for, is the 9 lives 1 and 3. I don't know what happened. I wanted to watch the
2004
VOD.
Rocket League
There is no
just
VOD.
won't cut it. I mean, how many times
VOD's
can I
not
say
even
it?
uploaded.
I said it at the start of the season. You're a 9 lives believer. I said they're no good. They're not going to do it. And look at them now, 1 and 3. What actually happened?
Listen,
Were
last
there-
week you were bowing down. Let's
Okay, I
relax.
was. We
Last
did lose
week-
to 9 lives. We may have lost. They did pretty good for a top 6.
No, but I don't know. I don't know what
Are
happened.
there VODs?
The VOD is not published. No, it's not published. I couldn't go watch. So
Yeah, that's
that is it has to be like a generational bad day. Like that's the only thing I could think of.
who'd they lose to?
It has to be. They lost to Oath, Repeat, and Swaz, and then they lost to Lunar Brawler.
Mm. Strong win
who else is on
next
this team?
though.
Yeah. Okay, Lunar Brawler and someone else. I can't even remember. And then they lost to Sim Talk Tricky, which that one's a little more like there's some. That's a better team, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened there. I mean, they literally just got top 6. They looked like a really high floor team. Like I said, they were. Like they're always solid. I don't think I've ever even seen Hawkster in Chicago go round 5 in a Swiss. So I don't know what happened. I'm actually very sad about
That's
that.
a really that's a really off day. I mean the reason why it's exaggerated as well, not only Gas not making it going 1 and 3, 9 lives going 1 and 3, is that Lil Step Bros have made the NA main event. Alphakep has made the NA main event. Now, Ferra, when you look at your rival region, North America, and you see Alphakep making the main event, how does this make you feel?
I mean, earlier I was talking about how Europe has, less depth than before. I mean, it's still not as
I love how you open with that.
It's not.
I love how that's your
I mean,
opening statement.
I mean, it's
I'd
still
like
not
to call
as
back.
low.
Look at the
It's still not
PR.
as low depth for Kep to qualify. Like,
No.
yeah, it's like I don't know, man. But to be fair, like I think, yeah, no, actually, I don't know where I'm going with it, but yeah, it's interesting. Good for the esport. I think it's gonna make a very interesting stream.
I saw a stat somewhere. Somebody can probably confirm in chat if this is true. Does this now make Alphakep the oldest player ever to qualify for an NA regional?
Sure.
Is
no.
this like
Wait, how
is
old
this
is he?
a
How old
win?
is he?
He's 27 according to Wikipedia.
No, surely someone.
Nah,
else.
so there's got to be no
Somebody's
way.
been
No
older
way.
to I think no. I saw this on Twitter. I think it is. Yeah, NA regional, NA. So this is a win for the Unks, guys.
Honestly,
this is a
though,
win
I watched it
for
live.
the Unks.
I watched it live. He was moving. Like I've
Yeah.
watched Alphakep play some games where I was like, oh my god, like this guy, his car is,
no,
you know,
he's
he had
like
some
Lamia out
Satthew
there.
moments
Oh
where
my
I
days.
was thinking he needs to take his car in for a service. Like he needs to take it to the mechanic because that thing wasn't working. But yesterday, he was playing some they played well. Like that game, that series they played, they actually
way.
played well. Kep was hitting his shots. They were moving. Like he was in flow state. I've never seen him so locked in, and honestly, they deserved it. I don't think it was an aura thing, you know, the aura curve, where it wasn't a. I
You
can't
don't
lose
think it was
to
a
Alpha.
negative aura
I don't think
curve?
the other team was playing that bad. I think that Kep was just playing well. He was in flow state, and the team was looking good. The comms were crazy as well. It was intense in there.
Wait,
and-
they reverse swept Swiss. I'm just checking the record right now.
swept the Swiss. You can see it on the
They
on
won
the screen.
2 game
That's
5s
crazy.
in a row. What
Yeah.
a run!
That's crazy.
Oh my days.
Bro's
Yeah,
car
they
normally
beat-
looks like it's as heavy as the sun. Yeah, I've seen that. But yesterday it wasn't. He was playing well. Like, I don't know, Garrett, did you watch the Alphakep series? Because I was saying that he was playing well. This
I
wasn't
did.
a fluke.
I did. No, I mean, and not to glaze Alphakep here. I think people think he's worse than he is because of the personality. He plays
Yeah,
a
to
lot
me,
still. Like
yeah.
he's not bad. He's not a bad player at all. And Gut obviously is actually pretty good. T-Carell always manages to make like quite a few runs. But I do think the team they beat probably. In my head, this is the mindset. They see their round 5. They're like, nice. We're playing, Kep's team. But then you get into the series, and they're like not playing bad, and you're like, oh my god, like is this
It's not
like
working.
is my career about to end right now? Like I'm about to not make the regional, and like it's just like worst case scenario because regardless how good you think Kep is, good or bad, his chat is just huge. Like there's a lot of pressure on that for sure, and you're like a serious team, and Kep's rubbing his.
And they don't forget that chat either. Like if you lose to Alphakep, they're gonna let you know about it whenever.
Oh,
you
and Kep won't let you forget about it either. Like he's gonna be
100%.
talking about it forever. So it's just like worst case scenario.
It's a mental warfare thing. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. No, but
So
I'm
they-
hyped to watch. Like I'm actually glad he made it. Like I think it's awesome. Like even
It's
though
good
he's
for the
playing
game.
ultimates.
It's good for
Yeah.
the game. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I think it's hilarious.
They beat in round 5, so they won a couple of game 5s against teams that I'm looking at. I'm thinking, yeah, they could win that. But yeah, their round 5 opponent was Just Us, Taroko, and Matter. I don't know who is Matter, a new player.
It's
Or is
Daunt.
this just
No, he
Matt?
changed
Oh,
his
it's
name.
Daunt. Oh,
Yeah, he
it's
changed
Daunt.
his
No,
and the
but you
name's
see,
changed.
okay, in this specific case, dude, there is an European player, so someone who's, I don't know, he's used to making main event in Europe. So
Yeah.
obviously he's come so far to expect to qualify for any main event, and yeah, I mean, if you lose to Kep, I mean, if you are in a series against Kep, you kind of expect to win. So obviously, if the series is a bit weird, it can get to your head pretty quickly, to be honest.
I mean, they look good. Like, yeah, T-Carell, I guess it was your enableization, as you said in chat. Because when he played with Squishy and Kofa, it was like watching it was like take your kid to work day. Like, Kep would look like he was just non-existent on the pitch. But in this team, he was carrying. He dropped like 800 points in a game.
They
he was
found the right
vibes-
system.
The
The
vibe-
vibes are probably
system is
different, you know.
working.
Yeah, I mean that's high pressure for you're playing with Squishy and an upcoming player. That's more pressure, I think,
100%.
for sure.
No, he's in chat right now. He says
Squishy and Kofa.
That's true. Yeah, true. I mean, Garrett can't call. He's with Squishy now, so they're not calling.
Yeah, it's not my fault. No, I'm just
But
kidding.
the team
Hey,
vibes are
well-
just great. Yeah,
Never
new
mind.
team diff, I guess.
Who do
Shout
they
out
play in the main
T-Pro.
event? Who's their round 1? That's going to be
Ultimates.
that's
They
gonna
play Ultimates.
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 I think it's
that's
Ultimates,
a tough
right?
one. Hey, who's in their lower bracket round 1 then? Who's in their
And
lower bracket round
never
1?
say never. Never say never.
Nah, I don't want to.
I'm
I'm trying to
just-
maybe jinx Ultimates a little bit, 'cause that would be hilarious if they could beat Ultimates. It's not like Ultimates are known for having the greatest mental in the world. Like, they can tilt for sure. They lost to Gen G last split. They definitely thought they were going to win that in that grand final. So maybe they could get tilted.
Where are you
What's the-
comparing Alphakep to Genji right now? Like, is
Yeah,
that
well,
the-
Gen G were like 9th or something in points at the time. Like, they were way out of the race, and they just
Dude,
won a
okay,
regional
I have
out
a
of
question
nowhere.
about that. Do you think
Yeah.
it's a real question? If the GK run did not happen, do you think the Gen G run happens? Because I think not. I think it just gave them
That's an interesting
hope.
one.
You know,
Oh,
It's
just-
possible. It's possible. 100%.
I think it helped for sure.
I think little things like that
Yeah.
can change everything in Rocket League.
it's like
I-
mentally you're like, wait, actually,
It's doable.
it's doable and more than we thought. You know.
Yeah.
The only reason I think it maybe could have happened without the GK run is because we had that famous Retals reverse. Did they reverse sweep phase
Is that
one time?
the
They did, right? They reverse sweep phase
to
before.
make it.
So yeah, I think that there's still like a chance with Retals in the team that they somehow get a reverse sweep in the final, or come back from 2 down. Their run was like not that. I mean, it was doable. Looking at the run they had.
Yeah.
It's not like they had GK's run was like so stacked. And like
Yeah,
Genji's
theirs
run
is
was super
different.
impressive. GK's run was absurd. Looking at who they played, I'm like, how on earth have they swept everybody? But Genji's run, I look at it, I'm like, okay, now this isn't completely out of the realms of possibility. Like when we saw the bracket, we're thinking this could happen, you know. Like up until the final is the only one that didn't look that great for them. But yeah, they beat
Yeah.
Poab in the semis. Complexity.
Oh yeah, okay.
Who can't Complexity don't know how to turn their monitors on in Champ Sunday, so like it's actually fine all the way to the final, to be honest. They beat Strictly
Yeah.
Business for top 6. Yeah.
DK was weird because they did not look. I mean, they lost on day one, and then they had to run through the whole lowers, and you know they went to game 5, game 7 against 100%, I think, and then suddenly they just don't drop a game. It's like, okay, what happened? What's going on?
Yeah,
funny.
that was insane.
I hate this like hypothetical question, but I'm reading the comment that Boy said because I always hate that's like, oh, if this team would have made the final, do you think they would have won? I actually do think if NRG made the final, they wouldn't have won. Because I think the pressure
I
of
do
like,
too. Yeah, I do too.
I think the pressure of like, I mean, LJ was not at all playing bad, but like LJ's going for his first win. It's been, you know, he's wanted that for years. I think too, they probably were like, I think going into a series thinking, oh, this is nice. Like we're playing a team that we're so
It's not
like confident
NRG,
against. That can be like a debuff to me at least.
yeah.
So you don't take them as serious, and all of a sudden you're in game 7 and you make one mistake and it's over. So I think that's interesting.
What's the play style then for Lil Step Bros to take down ultimates in round 1 of the group?
It's the play
I think they hope.
We had
I think
a
they
loss.
hope and pray. They hope and pray.
Hope and pray? Is it just like
mean-
full pace? You know, if you get dusted, whatever. What kind? Are they going full park the bus? Like what? What do you reckon?
I think it's counterattack bump goal. Because when I was watching Tikro and
Counterattack
Go
bump
were
goal.
like getting really good bumps, and then Kep was slotting. So if
That's
Okay.
that's
There
actually
you go.
true. Yeah, I love the bumps.
They should bump as much as possible for sure. They should
Yeah.
try and annoy them. Just be rats on the pitch,
Play
full rat style. I reckon.
play
Gives them a
aggressive
chance.
but also passive. Yeah, 100%.
Aggressive.
That's if there's a win angle there, it's a counterattack angle. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way.
They've got to get back in that flow. Like the problem is once you start winning, you're like, wait, we could actually win this. And when you think about that, then you lose. You know what I mean? The moment where you're like,
Yeah, it
wait, what
messes
if
you
we
up.
did this? And then you just overthink it. But I think they were just definitely yesterday in quals are in flow state. I mean, I tried to reverse like give confidence to Alphakep. I think going into game 5, I was streaming it, and or into his round 5. I said to him in chat, like, "There's no way you make the main event." And I said, "This will motivate him." He was like, "Oh, it is. I'll prove you wrong." It's like I think
See,
that, you know, that kind of
They
thing.
should think of it negatively, like, oh, how funny would it be if Don't think about how good would it be if we won this. Think about how funny it would be if Ultimates lost. That's the way to
Take
trick
yourself out of
into
it
thinking
and just think about the other
take
team
yourself
situation.
out of it. Think about how funny it would be for the other team to lose,
Yeah.
not how good it would be for you to win. So your fight or flight's not even going to activate. You're just watching at that point. You're
You're
along for
just
the ride. Like,
watching at
they
that
got,
point.
they got scored on. They got time on. Idiots.
This is like so many layers of mental mindset in Rocket League. I love that.
Yeah.
Like,
If it works, then it's genius. But actually, like somebody said in chat, we do have to talk about Schnitzelhaus because what's going on with Schnitzelhaus and why
the
are they
Schnitties were
3-0
on.
in Swiss?
But honestly, they should have beaten NRG as well. Was it NRG? Or...
No, they
they
did, didn't they?
Who
They
did
did.
they? Oh, sorry, they did.
Schnitzelhaus did beat
They
NRG.
Wait, no, sorry, I'm
They beat
thinking NRG
Complexity
should have
as
lost
well.
another game as well. Was it? They beat NRG and Complexity. NRG lost their game 5.
It was their round 1.
They
to
won
They
it,
almost lost to
yeah.
the boys.
Sorry,
yeah,
that's the one I was thinking of as well. But yeah, Schnitzelhaus. I mean, Lion Blaze was peaking. Those guys they were on one. Who's the full roster on Schnitzelhaus? Yeah,
It's Panda
Panda and Sai.
and Sai from Austria, the CRL player.
Yeah, I was playing Gangnam Style while I was watching them in Game 5 against NRG. It was peak. They were. So I was clipping. They were feeling it. I don't know.
That's funny.
Ferra, as a North America fan, what are your thoughts when you see Schnitzelhaus go 3-0 beating NRG Complexity?
I don't know. I didn't watch the game, so I couldn't.
It's
No,
not.
if you're just like Wikipedia
Interesting
results farming.
Interesting results. As I said, I think it's the type of losses that you can overlook easily, and I think that's what people kept doing with Vitality and Energy in the first split. But like to me, once they start adding up, it's usually a sign of something is weird going on. You know, like those are the series you should not be losing. So obviously it's a weird day because I think this season with the format, like teams are maybe not taking Swiss as seriously as the double elim last year, because like you have so much. Like you have to lose 3 series against some pretty bad teams to not qualify. So like I think some teams think they're pretty safe, and when they can actually mess it up, and because of buckles, sometimes it doesn't even matter what you do. You're gonna end up with a random bracket anyway. So
Yeah.
why care? You know.
And you keep your high seed. Even if you lose, you keep your seed. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
So that's the thing. So I don't know what to take away from him, but I think like my opinion is, you know, the more you lose, the more vulnerable you are. So it's I don't know, it's not a good sign. And that's what I was like. That's why I was thinking like NRG did not look as good as I thought they were last season. Like this first split, I'm only talking about the first split. I don't know, like from the eye test, from the series they were dropping left and right, I'm like, ugh, I think they're not as dominant as they were last year.
Yeah, there's a few upsets going on. I think even the first round I was mentioning before, they went to game 5, and we speak about the aura curve. They definitely won game 5 because of the aura curve. The other team was like, "Oh my god, we're gonna win this," and then they lost. And then they started playing like absolute bots. So yeah, that's interesting.
Do you know what word of the street is? NRG are trying to revamp into an aggressive team because of
course.
excessive criticism
They
online.
want
this is just
the sexier
this is
version of
the
NRG.
growth pains.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just puberty, but as they become like their sexier and more aggressive alpha self. You
Not
know?
the boring
So
defensive.
just be patient. Yeah.
Okay.
Takes time.
Okay, we'll see if that pays off for them. Yeah, so complexity as well with I mean Schnitzelhaus, once they beat NRG, why not beat complexity? So complexity were just running into a team on an absolute heater. After that,
wait, did CRR go AFK for the last 5 seconds of the last game?
He did.
Did he go AFK or did his controller disconnect? What happened
he
there?
did. Diaz hit it over his head and he was tilted. He 100%. Have you seen this, Garrett?
Wait, no, I have not.
Yeah,
I'm pulling this up. I've got the clips.
Wait, can you put it on Discord as well, or do we watch the stream?
I could pull it on Discord. Actually, if anyone has a clip in chat before I find it, they can link it. But I think I was watching on stream and it's straight away I was like, wait, did he stop moving? So
there's time left.
They're in game 5 with 5 seconds left, down a goal, and he just put the controller down and said, "That's enough." All right, I've had enough.
Stuff this.
He said.
He lost his shit.
He said,
"Can't be bothered anymore."
Oh, I've just had an absolute. Oh, I can link it for you guys. Let me up for this.
Oh, but then he started playing again. Okay. Yeah, he was like.
He was definitely.
He was annoyed.
He was annoyed. Yeah. All right.
He was annoyed.
That's always. I think Johnny, you said the word like the car language.
The car language. Yeah.
No. I actually felt like he was getting frustrated versus us, because he was like full watching replays and like taking full 60 to ready up and stuff, because we were actually like it was a close game, and I think they were like, why is this? Because they were playing bad too. Like they were not. I don't think they were playing great. But I always overanalyze car body language because I think it's funny.
Yeah. It could just be maybe. I mean, it's always one of those things. Maybe he got tilted. Maybe he just had to sneeze. Maybe the controller disconnected. But the timing makes it look like he got tilted for sure.
He 100% got tilted.
100%. He's not dead. He's like, look at this. He's probably gone. He definitely called his ball because he's got 70 boost, and Diaz had 0 at the time, and he just hit it over his head. Grab boost and kept going. Yeah. And I think I'm pretty stunned from my facial. The other big thing that we do need to cover while we've got the reactor is the moment of the worst bump I've ever witnessed. Worst demo that I've ever witnessed, and pure, I'd say, Space Station Gaming cheating going on, Ferra. I'd love to get your input on this as well. The window. I mean, this was disgusting.
I haven't seen any of this. This is fun.
Oh, you haven't seen this either?
This is a banger. I can't believe this one.
This is I'm just going to play. I think I might just be able to play from the VOD.
Yeah, for audio listeners, what game was this? What time?
For audio listeners, this is Space Station Gaming taking on Shopify Rebellion. This is game 4. They did win 3-1. This current score is 2-2, so it's game on. It's on for young and old right now.
Satthew, to your view party, you analyzed this extensively for around 2 hours after the match. All angles,
Indeed.
all POVs,
I
slow-mo.
yeah, I had to analyze it. Yes.
They're 2-1 down, so this is match point Space Station. Big moment.
A big moment. All right, good. I've got audio now. I didn't have audio last time. So this is a big moment. I'm just going to play from my VOD because this is... Actually, is this me watching the replay or the game? Okay, this is... Okay, I think I'm just going to play from here and let you guys watch the situation. Oh, no, I'm watching the replay. So this is it in the replay right here.
Wait, what? I missed it.
So this is... So Path with full boost, Scribbles with 0 on the sidewall, Path T-bone Scribbles. I've seen a robbery before my
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about just the game. Oh yeah, the game's cooked with them.
Okay,
cooked.
and now I get into every camera angle I think I possibly can with this in the VOD. Watch it one more from the main. Okay,
so
and then I get the close
Barth's
up
gone
here.
for a
with slow-mo.
demo, and he gets demoed.
And let's
I
bear
think
in
he did
mind.
lose. Did he lose Supersonic last second?
It looks like
He
was
did. When he,
supersonic for a split second, so we have to assume that his car was supersonic. But this reaction on stream is so good to this.
that's funny. Well,
But
the
yeah,
amount of times I hit someone and I get demoed, it's like so often. It's crazy. It happens so. It's like so inconsistent.
I think wait, who's the
Path.
SSG player? I don't know.
Like Scribbles.
I think Scribbles hit, like, the server thinks he hit him with the, like, edge of the car, which we don't see. Like, I think it's like, I mean, I think the server, I think for the server it's perfectly logical, but yeah, it looks.
It's just so funny the idea that Path is clearly
so
going for a demo.
bad.
Path's clearly going for a demo, and Scribbles is just playing the ball, and he's demo Path with no intent.
He's just like,
Yeah, it
oh
looks
man,
so
he
bad.
probably knew he's getting demoed as well. He's like, oh nah,
He's got 0 boost.
Oh,
Like,
sick,
oh,
I
I'm
got it.
alive.
And
Oh,
they actually,
you get
they
demoed, idiot.
score from this play
do get a
in
goal
the
for
end.
this.
So this is the
No,
winning
I mean-
goal in that play.
Yeah, we know that this happens because the server is, well, the client that everybody's playing on, including the replay, is trying to show the best, like, closest visual representation of what's happening server side. And obviously on the server side, the demo was, it was normal, but the client didn't do a good job visualizing that. It didn't show the correct position of the cars or the correct angle or something. So yeah, it just looks ridiculous. But that's not to say that it's okay. It's definitely still bad when that can happen. Because if you're coming in for a demo and you're thinking in the back of your head like, well, I hope my client has, correctly shown me where all the
where
cars
I
are,
actually
and I
am.
don't just get demoed by thin air, because it's not great if you just get demoed by nothing visually. So it's not a matter of knowing why this happens. We all know this happens because the server is registering a demo which doesn't correctly get shown. But yeah, still very frustrating, I'm sure, for the players.
Yeah, that was a tough one to watch. So that was Shopify Rebellion's run. They lost that one 3-1 and then got the win over Poab, went to game 5, and that was really scary as well.
I just linked a clip from that I haven't seen where
What is this?
5UP saved the game 5 overtime shot. That I guess Poab had the win, and then 5UP was chasing a bump. He just pulled up,
he saved
and
it.
he saved it.
yeah.
He saved it.
Saved it.
Wait, don't you think it's hard to see with the quality?
It's hard to tell if he
Like,
would've
maybe
got
the
it.
blue guy had it, no? I think he can touch it.
Rettles
I can't-
might have it into the post, yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to tell.
It is hard to tell. When I pause it, it looks far. I don't know, but it still sucks for
Yeah.
5UP.
It
Like,
does,
he's just
yeah.
trying to be a good teammate, get the bump, and the ball just comes straight towards him.
Yeah,
Across
it's
the pitch, there it goes.
And then the only other RLCS news we have this weekend is outside of NA and EU, is Sam Lost was lagging in the grand final for South America, so Team Secret have won 4-1, but it's a bit of an asterisk because Lost was supposedly lagging. So we'll see what that does to the split. I mean, well, what it does to the split is it makes it almost impossible for anyone else to qualify outside of Furia and Team Secret. Team Secret are now miles ahead in points. So it looks like we're going to get Team Secret out both Rally and Worlds if they can just have decent events. Someone else is going to need to win or make both grand finals ahead of them. It's going to be tough for anyone else to get it. And other exciting news is that a full EU team of EU imports lost in APAC. So
really?
Tho, Ocelon, last split they played with Max-U, they benched him, and they brought in Tekoz. So they're a full EU team now, 100% cringe, and they lost to LG Game 7. So everybody liked that.
Yep.
Everybody's preying on their downfall. Nobody wants to see them at any majors.
Luminosity, the lesser of two evils, with one
Luminosity,
APAC
they have 100%
player.
more APAC players. So Sphinx, everybody just wants to see Sphinx play, and that's
Yeah.
But like
all.
and Luminosity has a I guess cool like storyline with the major. Like they went 2-3, right? Which is I mean
they beat OCE.
Took
They
down
got a
OCE.
rivalry with OCE.
Yeah, thanks guys. Anyone else want to say it? Yeah, it was tough. It was tough to watch. Well done to Luminosity. That's actually, can I talk about that? When did Catalysm learn how to flip reset? Because all of a sudden he was absolutely peaking. Like that, he was on one in Birmingham. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, sorry.
I mean that's yeah, as I said, like those were the players that were making Europe deep and hard to play, because like to make playoffs you usually had to beat those guys or to make just a top 8 or top 6, and those guys can actually, if you're not having a good day, you will lose, and they will be able to make deep runs. But no, those players, they have the capacity to just like obviously qualify in other regions. So why I wouldn't say why shouldn't they, but it makes sense on a very individual and selfish point of view that if you stay in Europe, you're not gonna go anywhere. Like in the game, like the current ecosystem is as it is, and if you're not contending for major, you're not getting a consistent income, I guess. You're not getting an org, you're not getting anything. So why not try and qualify elsewhere? So.
To the people saying it's the same though, like for LG, I do blame the players. I do. I don't blame.
Really, you blame the players?
I blame the game.
I blame both. I think it's okay to blame both. I think we're giving the players far too much leeway by saying don't blame the players at all. I think there is an element of, a morality here. Like, I think you have to blame the players who do the full 3 out of 3
I disagree. Like I think this is just a rule that should be in place, and they would not do it. It's as simple as that. But I feel like the players, they just do. Like the thing is, to be a player at this level, you pretty much have to sacrifice your whole life for the game. And right now, the game is not giving it back. Like it's like you're not getting like
Can't find an org.
The golden days of Rocket League where you had an org because of being top 16 are gone. So and I'm not saying obviously like a game can only support that many players. So maybe it's not the right life path for them if they're not able to be good enough to make an income out of it. But I guess that's their dream, and they kind of have to pay to live and to pay the bills and pay the rent. And at some point, you gotta do what you gotta do. And if you gotta move continent to just be able to contend for it, or like to actually get a paycheck, I can't blame the players. It's frustrating, especially for the minor regions. But to me, it's just an Epic Games issue. Like, why open for new regions? Specifically talking about SSA, if you allow new imports to come in, because like obviously if the idea was to get the 16 best teams at the World Championship or at the major, like you would not have a system where you have like multiple regions and very specific spots per region. So once you have that, why not just region lock-in? It's I don't know. To me, it does the whole ecosystem right on that specific part doesn't make any sense, and it's. I think especially for the like minor region, especially like APAC and SSA, it's very, very frustrating. Like it's unfair. But I don't blame the players because they have to. I mean, the only thing they can do. I mean, they probably sacrifice their whole, like studies, their whole, career. All they did was put time in the game. So they might as well just try and make make money out of it, and that's the only way they found, because they're not good enough in Europe. So that's the truth of it, pretty much, I guess.
But everybody agrees, of course, that there should be, some kind of 2/3 or at least 1/3 rule that you need to play with a local player, or else what's even the point of these regions existing? It's supposed to encourage players from those regions to play, and nobody's really getting inspired to play Rocket League
right
or
now
try
it's
to be a pro by
it's
watching
kind of
Europeans win in SSA or APAC or somewhere else. It doesn't,
like the
it doesn't do
illusion
anything for locals.
the illusion of a global esport by saying like we have a region in every, we have a spot for every region, whilst not region.
Yeah, right now it's not true, because it's not region locked. So you have like EU 36 in SSA, you have EU 24 in APAC, and if your goal is to just have the best teams, just like run global qualifiers, and you're just never gonna have any SSA teams or any APAC teams, because
I still think.
obviously
So I'm with you on that for sure. I think they need to do something. I do want to challenge the can't blame the players totally, because although I think most of the blame goes to the TO because they could fix it far more easily, I still think the players have to have some kind of there has to be some kind of responsibility, because I'm not trying to say they're not breaking any laws, but if somebody's obeying the law to the letter, but still not really doing what they should do in a situation, we're quite happy as humans to blame them for it and just say that's
I understand where you're coming
allowed,
from, but
it shouldn't be allowed.
You think
Therefore,
we
we're
should
going to judge them for it. So I think
gentlemen's
I
agreement
judge them.
the region
I
lost?
just think it's. I'm not disputing that they're allowed to do it. I think they're obviously allowed to do it by the rules. But I think less of them for it because they're abusing a dumb rule, and I think that I do think less of somebody for that. It's taking the easy route instead of trying to compete. It's competition. Why are we trying to avoid competition? To this degree, it's a competition. You're supposed to compete.
Punching down.
I agreed until this year, where you can literally be a top 6 team and not get an org. I agree. I thought it was. I blame the players when people were just only doing it for the major spot. Now it feels like they're doing it because they want to have a career. And now you can't. Like, you can't have a career staying in a major region unless you're top 4 making the land. Like, there's no orgs.
But you could go. I'm not saying don't go. I'm saying go and at least play with a local. Like, if you could at least, and they did, to be fair. Like Thoenosl, they played with Max U. They lost one split, and they're like, all right, now stuff this. Let's just go full.
Let's get another one.
Full EU. Then they just gave up. It's like the way I see it is they just gave up. They said, okay, we suck. Let's just go get another EU player. And what do you know? They still suck. So I mean, if you suck that bad, maybe it's time to look for a different career. Like, what are we doing over there? Like, we're gonna bring in an even better EU player. I mean, this is just ridiculous. What's this cycle? Where does this take us?
Obviously, like the harsh reality is usually if you go that end and you have to go to another region to just farm the major spot, it's probably time to just think for another career path. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But I can't blame them with the current state.
I get your point. I get your point. Getting the one player is not that hard. I do get it. I just think the scene's in such a rough state that I feel like I'm a little more lenient now. I was the SSA situation with that one team was different when they literally threw that's very predatory. At least these guys are moving across the world.
That's against the rules, to be fair. So that's the difference. They literally broke the rules. They're not allowed to do that.
I'm saying it's easy to hate on them. At the very least, these guys are picking up their entire life to do it. But I agree with you. I root for Luminosity way harder because they do have the
if a full EU team qualifies for a LAN, there's absolutely no way you guys can tell me that you guys would be like, hey, congrats,
No, I'm never gonna be on that side. I'm just saying it's a survival thing, It's like
this is like some Hunger Games shit, though, right? Because if you imagine NA in Europe, they're eating good. Like for the last, as you see, Carol, previously from this season, they're eating good. Like, how good's this? Like, we're getting spots. I'm the 16th best team in North America. I'm getting paid a really good salary. Like, this is sick. I don't even have to qualify lands, but we're chilling. And all of a sudden it dries up. And then you've got these other smaller pools, these smaller little ecosystems. You're like, well, actually, I'm going to go hop over here and eat some of this. And then the guys over there like, hang on, we didn't have much over here either. It's like, yeah, but I'm starving over there. I was eating good before, but now I'm eating some of yours. And it's like, well, they still, you're taking careers from those people. Like now the NA 5 to, or 6 to 10 don't have careers, but it doesn't mean you can take what little they had in other regions just because now you don't get, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I just think Epic should be protecting those regions, like 100%. So.
The funny thing is that the current format is, over the past 2 years, specifically, has been, branded as more open than ever. But if you think of it, it's like it's way harder to make a living out of it than before. And we talked about at the beginning of the show about league play. At least in league play, you have 10 teams who can live off of it, or like 8 teams, or 10 teams.
Sorry.
Nowadays, there isn't. Okay, sure.
Everyone's playing, but no one's.
A thousand teams can play, but no one can actually. Like the cake, it looks nice.
Everyone
but
gets a little tiny
small.
slice.
It's so small.
Tiny slice.
I don't understand that when I say that. They're like, oh, but in competitive integrity. And I just think there won't be a scene if you don't improve things for entertain. Like there has to be a level of entertainment catering as well. Like you can't just, I don't know, you can't just make it the Wild West and expect there to be a scene. Like eventually half the players now are just hopping on and playing the tournaments. They're not professional players.
What's the argument then?
Yeah.
If you're Epic and Epic go, well, look how many signups we're getting though, and we look how many people are playing the game. Like, what's
there is no argument. We're screwed.
Yeah,
we're scred if that's what they care about. Like it's
like
over.
we're getting people playing
losing,
the game, buying items.
We're gonna
win-win-win.
We're gonna lose the orgs. We're gonna lose the starification of the game. So you're not gonna have the next Zen or the next Vatcha is just not gonna be there. Like there is not gonna be a player that is a star. Like there is not gonna be any stars. There's just gonna be players playing.
Big content creators.
Yeah. Which is another way of seeing it, but I don't like it because to me it's like the competition is dying down. Like as I said, like in Europe the depth has been reduced, lowered, and I don't know. If you like competition, I guess you want the matches to be more competitive. Now everyone complained about the 4-4, like the 4-4 on Saturday. So to me, it's just a byproduct of the current ecosystem. It leads to that. It leads to us only having 6 teams seriously contending for the major, whereas before it was more, and it should be more, realistically speaking.
This is a really interesting discussion, but to speak to I want to pivot to that 4040 EU. Oh, it's like 440s EU Saturday. I might be biased because I was actually working the show, but I thought it was actually a pretty good day. I've casted some terrible days of Rocket League over the years. I've casted this game for a long time. There's been so many days where I'm like, wow, that was a bad day of Rocket League. No storylines. No upsets, no close series.
You'd rather a quick shit series than a long one.
A good day. Like the GK KC series was a good series, a good 4-0. Johnny's happy he didn't have to work long. Hey, I won't lie. It's nice when you just have a day that's smooth, no tech problems. You're just done and dusted. That's obviously nice. But the gameplay was actually the first 2 series were pretty one-sided, pretty boring. But the second 2 were actually good, like Vitality, Gentleman. So I was enjoying that series. GK, KC, I enjoyed that one as well. I think people look at a 4-0 and they just think all 4-0s are the same, but it's not.
Yeah, but I think I think that's because you see it from a very expert point of view where you can recognize plays. But I think a lot of people who watch the game they will not recognize as many plays, but they want a tight series. They want to feel excited. They want to feel the undecisiveness of the series. They want to feel the nerves. That's why a 4-0 final is boring. Sorry.
Yeah. I think it's pinted up frustration from it's we're seeing the same teams over and over, but it's because we're running a full bracket every 2 weeks to me.
Yeah.
If it was more drawn out, you wouldn't think that way because you wouldn't see the same matchups so often, I think. Yeah. But it's we've been doing this for 4 years now where it feels like no matter what happens, it ends up being the same teams. It's because there'll always be a top 4 or top 2, but it's I think they're oversaturating the games, so it feels boring. I'm bored and I love the game. I'm bored of watching it.
Dignitas Fast Forward is a pretty dry series. I'll say that much, and then NIP our synergy, I just remembered that series was so fun. We had Itachi and the Roadhog. I absolutely loved every second of
Oh
that.
yeah.
Not gonna lie. And then honestly, Vitality Genomates and GKKC, I thought were like entertaining series, but that's just me.
But it's
The
a good point.
games were close. The game, like well, actually, NIP slapped Synergy. That wasn't close, but it was a fun series. Vitality Mates and GKKC were quite close games up until the last game of you guys 4-0ing them.
Yeah.
But people aren't really. I think some people
But you
just look
see,
at the
like,
series score. They're like boring.
yeah. Okay,
That's
guys, you were
take
talking
it.
about the top four, and like, I'm coming back on this, but like to me, like the current ecosystem is just gonna even, year after year, it's gonna be the gap is gonna be even bigger year after year because those top four teams can actually afford to, put all of their time into the game, all of their resources into the game.
They're the only professional teams playing.
Yeah. So, and all of the others are like, I kind of have to do something else with my life, and I'm gonna just try and just compete as well, but just to get the remains of the cash prize. But I'm not taking it as seriously anymore. And so many players, and I'm hearing a lot of them. Like I'm not spoiling anything, but yeah, like I think a lot of players are gonna retire after Lyon. Like genuinely, like some of the big players as well. Like some of them just they don't want to be in an ecosystem that just is not looking good for the future, for their own
Right.
sake.
Yeah, people keep asking me, it's like, what is with the age thing? Like, why are 14, 15-year-olds so much better? And I'm just saying, like, because they don't need to make money. They can play for
Sure.
8,000 hours before they make a
Yeah.
single dollar. Whereas, like, if you're 20, 21 and
You need results.
you're sixth best in NA and you can't get a single pay, you can't even get $1,000 a month from an org. You can't even get like bare minimum. Like, why? Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't.
and the
It's
cash
not
prize,
sustainable.
the cash prize online have like been reduced by
It's
2
cut.
or 3.
Everything's cut.
It's cut in like 1,000 pieces because obviously the top 124 needs to be paid for some reason. Like everyone needs to get their $100 cash money. So yeah, it's cut, and like I think if you're a top 6 team in terms of like cash prize at the end of the year, you get what, 5K maybe for a whole year of like competing at a very high level. Like being top 6 in a major region is extremely hard. You have to scream every day. You have to practice every day. It's not easy. It's tough mentally as well. Like
Yeah.
either you love it, either you quit it. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize, okay, it's time to quit it. pretty much.
So then you're one of those players, and then you get an opportunity to move, and you'll make more prize money and actually get a paycheck, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm sure they feel a little guilty about it, but like, how do you say no at that
Yeah.
point?
And
if
you
want
will
to do
experience majors, which is something I think you can all agree is an amazing thing to see to play. And not a lot of players will experience that, to just play on stage in front of a crowd and stuff like that. You can't say no. It's like it's a one-time experience. Just I'm not saying
it's
obviously you
hard to
gotta
say
do
no.
it, but as I said, it's hard to say no.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems that I think.
Yeah, I think
have
we
been
could
brewing.
probably run a whole ep on this. On
That's
the
gonna be our
ecosystem.
episode. Yeah, our what do you call it? Episode. The format. Shark Tank.
Yeah, our Shark Tank bonus. Yeah, I like that. We should include it, not just format, but just like Rocket League Esports, Shark Tank. Yeah, I like that. We'll run that. Just to round off the show, though, we have actually some really good questions from the patrons coming in here. Patreon.com/Chalkcast, by the way, if you want to get involved. 91, 92 bonus episodes, something like that. Make sure you check it out. And I want to kick it off with, I'm interested in this one from Robo Noel for you, Ferra. There's a lot of coaching sort of questions here. First one is, how do you balance the team in terms of playing loose and relaxed versus being super technical? I think especially in today's Rocket League, it's so quick, and Rocket League's such an instinctual game. How do you kind of, what's the balance like with the guys of, like feeling comfortable but wanting to play how you want them to play?
Wait, can you repeat the question? I'm trying to.
You're saying like how do you balance like playing loose and relaxed versus with being super technical or playing structured in the team?
Oh yes, so it's about discipline. So it's like I think some players need it more than others. Where like they actually need to have a plan in mind, and it helps with dealing with the pressure as well when you kind of know you've prepped for it, so you kind of feel like you have more control over the situation. And some other players that do not want to think too much. My best example is Radozin back in the days. I was telling him, you're the best when you just stop thinking. So stop thinking, and it works because like naturally, what he was doing is better than when he's trying to overthink it. So it's always a hard balance to find, and it's a lot of work with each player individually. It's like, okay, how do I talk to this player to be? Because at the end of the day, the way I see it is, it doesn't matter the path we take. All that matters is, what's going to happen on the field. It's like, okay, if I need to do this for him to play the way I want him to play, then so be it. If I need to do another specific thing, I will do this. But yeah, and for some it's easier than some others. Obviously, like I think people see it as see coaching as a very you just say something and he's gonna execute it. That's not how it works. Like it's so much harder, and sometimes like as we said, as we talked about this earlier with the semantics and energy. It's like sometimes you're gonna say something and he's not gonna exactly understand what you mean or exactly execute as well as you mean. And I don't know, the game is very deep, so it's always a balance thing that you have to find with each player. You try and repeat pretty much all the time.
Okay, I've got another one here for you from Kronos in the Discord. He said, if Vitality swapped out a player for Eugen, I guess this is just for the panel. If Vitality swapped out a player for Eugen, would they be closer to you, Ferra, more firepower? What do you think about Eugen and Vitality? Is that necessary?
It's interesting because Eugen is very. I think it's not as big of a an obvious like rookie of the year than Drali or Zen were, right? Like those were the star players, and you could see it. Eugen is slightly different. I feel like at least today he hasn't shown as much potential as those two, but he's still shown a lot of potential. So it's hard to say how big of a difference it would make in Vitality, but obviously in terms of like gameplay and firepower, it would make a difference. And maybe just playing with like such experienced players would actually elevate his gameplay a lot. I could probably higher peak and lower floor is the way I would see it.
That makes sense.
I see that. Yeah.
This question is about. Wait, should I do? I want to do the second one. More.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in that. Ferra is goated AF. Does he think he could bring a top 16/top 8 bubble team to the major? And what team would he choose if so?
Top 16 or top 8 bubble team?
Just a non-major team.
Would you lead them to the major? There's no region involved either, but
funny thing is I did that with Vitality. When I joined, Vitality was a top 16 teams. People forget about it. But like when I joined Vitality was top 16 with KDOP, Alpha, and Ferry Peak, and we had to bring Rado in and then Sazen in, and none of them had made anything closer than making the major. And Alpha, it's been a long time since he made anything relevant. And we made the major, and we actually came close to reaching a semifinals. Nowadays, I'd say no, as I said, because the depth has left the region. So I do not see, a group of players that in the top 8 to 16 range that I would be able to bring to a major. But I
BDS,
think
maybe? What about new BDS?
maybe
Nico.
no, not in one split.
Can I interest you in Rusties on Team BSK?
Rusties, oh yeah. Wait,
we love
I
Rusties.
got the
We
team
love
mixed up.
Rusties.
Yeah, so it's Rusties plays with Mozzarella, right? And Pisky.
Yeah.
Pisky he needs to rebrand back to Whiskey Drink. Surely they won't notice. Whiskey Drink is a better name.
I think I would help them, but I like reaching the major in Europe is tough.
How about not this split? Like this season, forget about it. But like, what about next season? A major.
So like in 1 year.
Yeah.
We
year and a half.
I don't know, it's hard. Like I would be confident in like making waves. Like making deep runs, maybe a top 4 with some of them, depending on the bracket and stuff. But consistently and actually, aiming for a major with those types of players, it's a bit a far stretch right now. Like they're all very inexperienced and they do not show the same type of like potential. And back in the days, like we had, like as I said, like the teams were more close in terms of levels, so it was, all I would say it was easy, but like if we bring a little bit of structure and some quick tips to like teams that do not work at all or like do not know anything better than just playing the game, sometimes it elevates them a lot. And back then it was working quite well, but I think nowadays we need like a bit more talent. I'd say.
How much could you squeeze out of Garrett, Atomic, and Squishy if you coach them out of Team Gas?
What is that roster? That's so random.
Oh, sorry, AJ. Sorry, I said Atomic. Sorry, Gas.
AJ.
Sorry, the current Gas lineup. How much actually could you?
I don't know. Actually, okay, I'm gonna reverse the question, Garrett. What do you think of, like, because we come from a very old time where coaches weren't a thing. And I think so. I guess my answer will depend on that. But like, what do you think about coaches? Like, what's
What do I think
your
about
point of
coaches?
view? Yeah, in general.
I think coaching is like a super team to team thing. Like, I feel like some teams almost win or lose by their coach, but I think that's more rare. And I think it depends on the players. Like, I think there's certain players that need more guidance, and some players that they just need like structure to trying every day. And like, I think Greg, for example, I feel like his biggest attribute, which I've never been coached by him, so I don't know, but his biggest thing is that I feel like there's like a culture around the team. Like the team feels like a team at all times, if that makes sense. Whereas some teams they're just on a team together and they show up and play, and they could benefit from that
clock
extra
in,
like
clock out.
Yeah, they're clocking in. But it feels like every single team needs a different type of coach. And I think that's probably the hardest thing about coaching is not over coaching, because it's like you can only say so much. I think at certain points, you can only turn something around mid-series so well. But like if you have the right players who respond well to that, then it helps. But I think it could be very easy to overcoach a team.
And how have your like point of view changed throughout the years? Because like me personally, like I know when I started, like I don't even think coaching was I would say it was never a thing, but like I would probably have seen it as like I don't need it, in like 10 years ago. I'm talking
right.
6 years ago. How has your like opinion changed over the years?
I think it's important now, because I think back then it really felt like the game nowadays feels so more. It honestly feels more important to be on the same page as a team. Whereas back then, it's like you had one good player, you could win the series. You're just better. Now it's like you've got to have a system. I think you got to stick to it, and
yeah, because everyone is closer mechanically, so it harder to make a difference, right?
It feels like the off-ball stuff is obviously more important than ever. Like the intangibles, like everyone has to be able to do everything, and I think it's important someone is telling you that you're not doing that. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Justin would show up and just beat CJ day one DreamHack, Nowadays, it's like, everyone's got to be on the same page.
I mean, that would still happen today.
Yeah.
Okay.
That will change.
I will answer the question. I think I could make you qualify to every event.
That's fair.
I think I could make you qualify to every event.
Yeah.
Because I think the main issues I would have with you guys is obviously I have an easier time teaching a player individually, like mechanically insane, but like brain dead, than the other way around. And your team is like full of.
Are you calling Garrett mechanically brain dead but insane in the brain?
No, but like
no. He's saying on the opposite.
He has to be talking about Squishy.
Yeah.
And AJ.
No. I'm talking about like your team in general feels like it's like a group of like very experienced players who know how to play the game, but you guys are getting outclassed by like newer players individually. So
yeah, I think what you would struggle with is getting us the demo.
To
be honest, that would be to do that stuff. But no, that's fair, because when it's like we don't scrim obviously, so it's very random what we show up on the day.
Yeah.
So like we've gotten 2 top 12s and 2 1-3s, so it's like. You don't know what to expect from us at all.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, if I come in, I would make you scream a bit more, so at least we could get some stuff in. And I think just doing that would be enough to make you guys qualify for every event. But yeah, I would be pretty confident in just qualifying you guys. But then how much
After that,
higher we
it's,
can
it
do?
is, yeah, it's
I
hard.
think it's tough.
It is hard.
Um,
I agree.
adding to that, then, this is a pretty good one from Desha. With your experience now as a coach and a player, Ferra, what do you think most players or coaches still misunderstand about building a championship caliber roster? What does Ferra, with all his experience now, look for? You know, is it? Do you think some players or people still don't understand what you need, to build a major or championship winning team?
It's very hard to. I'm not sure I would be able to answer that question because even me sometimes I do not. What is that?
Is it confidential information?
No, not even that. Like, I'm not even sure I would be able to answer that question. Like, even just for myself, because like, first, I'm not sure how different I'm working from all the other teams. Obviously, I know for a fact that it's very different because like I've coached players who had other coaches who worked through different teams. So and I always ask them how it was and what we can extract from it, just to maybe they're doing something that I never thought of. I don't know. What, can you repeat the question? Maybe I will have something come up in.
The question is, what do you think most players or coaches still misunderstand about building a championship roster?
I don't know. I like nothing comes to mind.
Do you think people focus too much on like individual mech or focus too much on?
Like this definitely. Like, I think the debate nowadays is very. Maybe it's a cultural thing, but I do not like for example, like right now the like there is this like those big rivalries, like Zen against Yupo, saying how Drally is the best in the world and how different BDS New Vitality is without him and with Zen in place, and like they're all comparing players very individually, and I'm not thinking that way, and I'm definitely not seeing the same stuff that people see. So like it's funny because like people like call Drolly like extremely smart on the field and like the best player in the world by far. And I'm like, he's so good at so many things, but like he's also the player that I have to keep in line the most in terms of gameplay and how disciplined I want him to be, which is sometimes a strength because like sometimes he's unpredictable, but like it does feel like sometimes he's making mistakes that his teammates will never make, and he's able to, like, right now he's being seen as the best player in the world, and I think he is, but also because his teammates around him are making him shine. And yeah, I think it's mostly seeing the game through teamwork and how everyone can elevate each other instead of individual skill mostly. And I say that with 3 players who can obviously carry a team. Like, obviously it's very easy to say that when all of those players able to carry a team and they're all willing to work together to achieve higher goals and stuff. But still, like I think the conversation is a bit too individually focused and not enough like team. And I think how to say it? Like I think it's a point that is coming down from sports and especially like American sports. And I'm reading a book from Phil Jackson recently, and he's saying like nowadays the NBA is very, very, very egoistical with how like the players are being portrayed, they're playing on the field, like the whole gameplay is so individual. Whereas back in the days, it was just about having a team,
Yeah.
And like and it's the same in soccer. Like recently, there is a big thing with how Mbappe has left PSG, and PSG might be closer than ever to win the Champions League, while Mbappe has joined Real Madrid, and Real Madrid is out of the Champions League. And how one individual can be a star player and very self-centered, and how he can actually just not maybe be the most valuable piece to make a winning team, and it does feel like sports I mean, just because like conversation in general will focus more on individual than team. It does feel like esports take away that path as well. Like we focus more on individual storylines instead of like team storylines, and players buy into that as well. It's like they want to be the best player. They don't want to be in the best team. And me in my when I was playing, I always thought of myself, I want to be the worst player on my team, because if I'm the worst player on my team, that means my two teammates must be really, really good, because I saw myself as really good. So I was like, dude, I want to be the worst player, so my team is insane, you know?
Mhm.
I've always had that
That's a good
philosophy, but I
strategy.
feel like it might have held me back. I mean, I didn't really do anything with competitive Rocket League, so I might only maybe I took that a bit too far. It's that's really interesting. I mean, the individualistic. I've noticed it a lot more. I talked about this a lot on my stream actually, that there seems to be more of a culture around the star player in American sports, at least that I'm aware of, compared to the European teams in the same sports, because European teams and other teams in the world do play American sports. I mean, basketball is the big one, and there seems to be an identity difference there between the way that I mean, so it's all media driven, which I guess we're to blame for as casters and podcasters in Rocket League. But Rocket League really has out of all the games and out of all the competitions, is probably the one with the least identity when it comes to play style, because everybody's playing
Right,
Austin and Fennec, and everybody's playing like very similarly, so it's hard to draw comparisons, which I think why people are so it might seem forced sometimes. When somebody's
like
shoehorned into a
in
role.
other games, individual differences are even like more easy to spot on. Like in League of Legends, like your mid lane, if your mid laner is winning
Solo
against
kill.
his own, like you can actually see the difference he's making by himself. Same with
For
like
sure.
CS, with the amount of kills someone is getting. In Rocket League, it's so
That's why it might
not
seem
as
forced,
easy.
because it's not as obvious. So we really have to. I mean, sometimes we're really looking for a narrative as casters. We're like, all right, well, what is going on here? This is like, this is a bit of a tough situation to draw up a storyline, and then looking at. I mean, when a situation like Drally presents itself, where it's like, okay, World Championship winning roster, they've gone their separate ways, and now one guy is still winning. Obviously, he deserves to be called the best player in the world. That's just an automatic situation.
Yeah, I mean,
and
he like in my eyes,
like,
and the more I see him play, the more I'm like I can see flaws, but I'm like, even with these flaws, he's still like so valuable, and he's still able to elevate our gameplay so much. And I'm like, dude, does that mean he can even be better? And yes, and I'm like, okay, it's crazy, So it's good. It's a good problem to. I mean, it's not a problem. It's a good player to have on your team. But yeah, it's still like the way people have talked about it, and even with some other teams, I said like, the way people talk about, I don't know, Zen, about Newpo, I mean, it goes for every player. I'm like, it's always contextual. And same for Gentlemates. I think the best example this is Gentlemates, how people have been talking about Seko, Eugene, even Rado, with how they looked together. Individually, they're better than that. Like, they can all play better than that. But in their context, it just didn't work out. So, and same, like, they could be the best player in the world on another team, maybe.
Agreed. Yeah, it's all about like, I mean, Rocket League's very mental. Rocket League's very like right team, right time, because some teams will stick together for ages, and then it works at some point. Sometimes it doesn't. But other teams, they just like. I mean, actually, you said this in your. I think it was in your interview after winning the last event. Like the closest you are to winning is when you just won. Didn't you say that?
Yeah,
I think
but
you
I
might have
actually
heard
thought
me
about
saying that in your ear while you were listening.
Yeah, you were like, great point he's making there.
Yeah, I was telling CJ like, oh, did he? I was like telling CJ, oh, did you hear that? That's an interesting.
No,
point
you said.
made.
I think you said wise words from Ferra, and I'm like, thank you.
We're having the most bot
As you're trying to
conversation
talk.
in the green room I've ever heard. Wise words from Ferra. I swear we don't talk like
that's just how we talk behind the scenes, We're just very, very serious.
What an
people.
AI conversation.
but I stand by it, and I think, I think it's hard to see in the moment. And I mean, Garrett, tell me what you think about it. But like, when you're in it, so like when you're winning a lot, you're like, surely, it's like we can still win, we can still win, we can still. But it's after when you stop winning that you're like, bro, maybe if I push myself a little bit harder, I could have gone on to win, one more, or two more, or three more, and maybe
Oh, yeah.
things would have changed like drastically. And it's just like we maybe sometimes let things go because we think it's just gonna keep on forever.
Oh yeah,
And
100%. I think, well, and honestly, I forgot to ask you this question because I was thinking about the top 8 last year at the major and then not qualifying for the regional after. I do feel like sometimes like one moment, because to me, competing is very confidence based. Like obviously talent can carry, but confidence is important. And I think a really bad moment can, if you let it, fester in your mind, it can lead to the end. And I think that's what happened with us. Truthfully, like I think it was one really, really bad event, which was LA and all the drama around it and all that stuff that led to like just a bad mental for the rest of that team's, life or whatever. But yeah, and when people ask about winning worlds too, that's what I say. It's like, to me, I think winning sometimes it feels a little circumstantial. Like sometimes things just line up,
Dude.
and you don't know what you did exactly to make that happen. And that's why I say with First Killer, it's like he could have had so many wins. It's not anything he's really done wrong. I don't think. Like sometimes it just doesn't happen. Like it's
You need luck. I would say you need
Yeah,
luck to
100%.
win. Like
You gotta feel good on the day.
sometimes you don't, but usually you do. Like you do need that one overtime goal that's gonna put you in a very comfortable spot in a series to be able to not ask you any question in your head and not go to that game 5 that you were gonna lose in a weird way because of a weird pinch. It's like you need to be lucky, and you cannot win an event without being lucky. Usually.
Yeah, there's this moment when we won Worlds right before we scored where Scrub went to shoot and I just jumped off the wall and I got lucky and you can't really tell on the broadcast that I saved it, but like that was going in and it was luck. Like I didn't make a save. Like that moment could have changed everything. And there's just so many little moments like that I think that's why I say I don't know who brought it up. If GK didn't make the run, I could see Gen G not making the run. Like there's so many things that go into winning.
And sometimes you're not controlling you're not controlling any of them. It's like you're not in control and things just have to go your way. Like my career would not exist and I would not be here today if like in season 3 I did not qualify and it just came down to one goal. And I know I would have called it quits and I would have gone to doing software development afterwards.
Yeah.
Like I planned it, but then I qualified and then I qualified again and then I qualified again. It's just like butterfly effect.
Same
it
for
goes
me.
very deep into pretty much every tournament. It's like
I think you don't want to
smallest
think about it too
goals.
much. It gets you. I feel like you can go crazy if you're like, oh my god, imagine if this didn't happen, and then if this didn't happen, it's
yeah.
It is.
But then I mean, it's competition. It's like you gotta do, as much as best as you can with what you can control, and
sometimes it works out. Sometimes
it works. Exactly.
So it's interesting. That's why I'm like, oh, do you think that when people ask, will NRG win Worlds? I don't know. Like, so many people ask questions like that. Like, you don't know. It's that's the point of the tournament. You see if they can do it.
Yeah, and that's why sports is beautiful. It's just you do not know. Even if a team keeps winning and winning and winning again, it's bound to stop. Like every empire has an end. So.
Yeah. But you guys did all agree that you need luck to win. Therefore, you all now are allowed, all of you listening, to say that the other team got lucky if they beat your favorite team. So you just say, nah, they just got lucky. Because you didn't want to win, so they had to have been lucky.
Yeah.
No, I would say we did not need a lot of luck in Birmingham, but we did have luck.
In saying that, we absolutely shat on everyone in Birmingham. 4-0 champ Sunday.
Things could have been different if we lose against Wildcard and it just came down to one goal, Like,
that's true.
Hey, that's a good team though. That's a good team. And that's a great place to wrap the episode as well with OCE being back on top. Ferra, thank you very much for coming in. It has been an absolute pleasure. Great. Every time you come on, I feel like they're our longest episodes, but also our best episodes, and people absolutely love being here.
Thank you. But I love talking, man.
Yeah, thank you.
And also because like it's I don't know, it's I don't have a lot of opportunities to do this, and it's like most of the time it's with people who ask very surface level question, and with this specific podcast or like even First Touch, we're able to really get into the deep stuff, and I like it. So Yeah, lovely. Thank you for the invite again.
I feel like we get to scratch your brain, you know, in the right places when you come on. So yeah, it's awesome to have you on. We'd love to have you on again. Thank you everyone for tuning in live. You guys have been fantastic in the chat. I saw some deep conversations going on in terms of the format, saving the esports. So we'll definitely queue up a Shark Tank episode in the future. Thanks to the fellow co-hosts, and make sure you join the Patreon as well. Patreon.com/Chalkcast. Links will be in the description, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, one of those ones there. And you can find it in the YouTube description as well if you're watching. Shout out to the audio listeners. And we will be, well, I guess we'll have some predictions for NA this week. Obviously got NA coming up later on this weekend. EU quals are back this weekend as well. So we'll stay tuned to see if KC can have a perfect quals. I'm sure you'll be getting the boys back on board for another win.
Yeah, we need to qualify for rally.
Yeah, let's just start off by qualifying. It was right about this time last year that I remember something else happened.
Dude, it's the fifth regional that everything gone pretty badly. But right now, we cannot miss Worlds anymore, so that's the one thing.
That's good. Yeah.
Pressure's off. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in, and yeah, we will see you guys in our next bonus ep. We'll have predictions up and stuff, and some other things during the week, and then I guess the next time you'll see us live without locking in and all talking to the boys will be the post NA
most likely, yeah.
recap.
Unless we do a random episode this week.
We might. I don't know. The episode's going crazy. I don't know. Since Rizzo's put on a GarrettG costume, we have absolutely smashed out the episode.
Since Rizzo became CEO, the company's just taking it to the next level.
Rizzo elevating himself has been crazy. He's making us work like absolute dogs down here on Chalkcast, on the ground level as the plebs that we are. But yeah, shout out to everyone and thanks for watching. We will see you guys in the next episode.
Yep,
See you later.
Bye-bye.